Saturday night, and we didn't do this all week, so I'm gonna have a Ask Me Anything format today. So people are gonna say, "What's today's topic?" Today's topic is Ask Me Anything. Okay. And of course, when I say ask me anything, I mean ask me anything appropriate. Anything inappropriate will not be answered, um, obviously. So today's Ask Me Anything format. And, today is Mrs. Contrarian's birthday, so I'm probably not going to stay on too long. We all know, well, some of you know some stuff I've hinted at about Mrs. Contrarian's birthday. I'm not going to say much just in case she's watching. She said she couldn't, but you never know. Because her family almost leaked it. So they're excited. That's why. But still, her her family almost leaked the secrets. So yeah. So it's Mrs. Contrarian's birthday. So won't be on for long. But like I said, today's format is Ask Me Anything. So feel free to do so. Okay. And I'll even allow political questions. I know I said I would avoid talking politics all week, but since it's Ask Me Anything, you can ask that too. Oops, and it looks like my fan went down for the count. By the way, if the sound from the fan is too jarring, I will turn it off. But then I won't stay on for long because it'll get very hot very soon. So, and even with the fan, it's still very hot. So, again, this is Ask Me Anything topic, which, like I said, I like to do at least once a week. It allows people to ask me random stuff, and we can just have, you know, a conversation. I hope Miss Needle comes back because I have an answer to her question from yesterday and the day before. If people are asking questions and it's not showing up, that is the algorithm doing that. That is not me. So if people are leaving comments or whatever that may be sensitive, YouTube may not allow it to go through. So just letting you know that ahead of time. Because people always think I'm doing that. I'm not doing that. YouTube does that. 68 Aiden Lobos is the first one here. How are you? But yeah, so for everyone here, I see there's about 6 people in the chat room right now. Today's 18 now, sorry. So today's topic is Ask Me Anything Saturday. So I do this once a week. For those who've been here before, you know that I at least do it once a week, that I'll allow people just ask me random questions, because on any other given day I have like a specific topic and I stick squarely to that. And I usually tell people, well, hey, if you're not going to contribute to the topic, then go ahead and drop a super chat and I'll answer it. XWX is love from Japan. What's up? But they don't say ni hao in Japan, so I don't think you're actually in Japan, my friend. You're talking to someone who's been to Japan a number of times, so they don't say ni hao in Japan. I don't even think you've left your country, whatever country you're from. And yes, I am very sarcastic and very blunt, so deal with it. It's the fan. Is it too jarring, Miss Needle? Because if so, I can turn the fan off. I was trying to see if I could use it while live streaming without it becoming too jarring. That's Korean. I also know I have Asian friends. You dumb fuck. You're just you're just some little twat. You don't know anything about Japanese. That's literally Korean. You're stupid. You're one of these little incels that try to get Asian women but have no hope with them. Who am I voting for president? I'm voting for Trump. Oh, Miss Nito. So how does it sound now? Is it all right? Oh, and Miss Nito, I found out. I finally remembered the city. It's Stuttgart. That's where we used to hang out when I was there. It was Stuttgart, because that's where the Mercedes factory was, and I think we went there while we were there. And I also didn't know they made Porsche there as well. Allowing me to you too. That's what's up. Standing on the windy cliff at the ocean. I wish. I wish. But also, I do have some traditional Chinese music in the background, so it might add. So between the sound of the fan, and the traditional uh, Chinese music in the background, it might kind of um, lead to that sound. It's called uh, Guzheng traditional music. He said, "Oh, Stuttgart. Yes, I know it. Yep, this Stuttgart was fun. I don't know how big Stuttgart is, but it was a fun city." Oh, thanks, Lyman. He said, "I didn't know this was your first time here. I appreciate it." J, I'm I don't be upset if I don't pronounce this correctly. J underscore Chiefin underscore gas. I'm so I'll get it. Chiefin gas. Get it. I get it. So there's another live streamer looks identical to you, but he has an African voice. That's cool. I'm not African though. I'm foundational Black American, or ADOS. Uh, and I can trace my ancestry to Thomas Jefferson and the black people who arrived here since 1619. So, American all the way. Anyway, Miss Nita says Stuttgart has awesome ice cream places called Old Bridge. You ever been there? I don't think so, because I would remember that. I'm trying to remember if we even had ice cream while we were there. Nah, nope, I don't think so. I would have remembered that. I remember we went to this mall and they had like this little nudist spa. They had a nudist spa there, and we was like, "Well, shit, let's go." Then we went there, and we saw it was nothing but like old wrinkled people in there. We was like, "Nah, we're good." Which is the case for most nudist places. Most nudists are just a bunch of old people. Nobody wants to see their little flappy bits, their little flappy wrinkled bits. Like, nah, I'm good. But yeah, it was this mall at Stuttgart that had like a little nudist spa there. I remember that. No, uh, it's not going to be until 7 p.m. her time, so that'll be 7 a.m. here. Uh, and I gotta be careful because her family is so excited that they almost let out the secret. So, and I can't say it here just because she says she's about to go listen to some music or whatever while she cooks, but I don't want to say just in case she jumps up on here accident like, and you know but she's about to make some kimchi fried rice, which sounds awesome. Marvel DC. Um, if you talk about the comics, I mean, I'm even. I don't. Uh, I guess I'm slightly more a DC comic book fan than Marvel, but I'm kind of split evenly amongst them. But I like DC slightly more just because they have the older retinue of characters, and they have Batman, who's my favorite character. She's like, all right, I'll shut up about it. No, no worries. Like I said, I don't even think she's on, but just in case, I don't want to say what it is because then she might scroll through and see it or something. So, but like I said, her family almost let it out the bag, and every time they say the word to the thing that we're about to do, like they keep looking at each other, giving each other the side eye, and I'm like, y'all, I was like, y'all need to be cool. I was like, I know not to break law with them because they would not be good. They would not be good co-defendants. Like they would get you hemmed up. And luckily, one of her friends is there too. So she has no idea why her friend is there. She just thought her friend was there to hang out with her for her birthday, so she doesn't know anything else. So, and her friend was like the one telling me, she was like, "Yo, her family keeps almost letting it out the bag." I'm like, "Tell them to chill." Like she was like, "Well, they're just so excited." I was like, "I get it, they're excited, but their excitement, they can't ruin it for her because it's for her to be surprised." Now I know next time I throw a surprise, um, I might have to just involve her friends doing it. What's up, Peppermint Airy? I'm just gonna say, yeah, not that. If I ruined it, I'd beat myself up about it. Yeah, don't worry about it. Lyman says, yeah, I think Batman's badass, but I think Hulk's pretty awesome. The thing about the thing about the Hulk Lyman is a lot of people don't realize he's actually a hero. Like most people think he's like this, like like there are different versions of the Hulk which aren't heroic, but the canon version, the Green Hulk, he is a hero, and a lot of people don't realize that. Like he doesn't kill innocent people. He even rarely kills like the villains. Like especially since most of the villains he takes on are people vastly pow- vastly powerful, even more so than him. That he doesn't punch down. He punches up. And like if people attack him like the army and stuff like that, he'll just completely obliterate stuff. But he he rarely takes it too far. Like I said, his the other versions of him will take it too far, like the Immortal Hulk and all those other versions of him. But the regular Green Hulk, nah, he is a hero. Unfortunately, the MCU haven't been really able to use him because up until now, and I think even still now, the character is owned by Universal Studios. So so the MCU can only use the character in conjunction with the Avengers because he's in a part of the Avengers. As part of that team, he can do. They can make. They can make movies with him in it. But if it doesn't pertain to the Avengers, they can't. But I'm not sure if that's still the case because they used him in She-Hulk, and neither he nor She-Hulk were tied into anything the Avengers were currently doing. So maybe they've gotten the rights back from Universal Studios, as well as I think they did. He and Namor, the Submariner, were both owned by Universal Studios. So I'm guessing they got the rights from both characters back from them, or Universal Studios licensed them the rights to use the characters again. I don't know, but it seems it seems just a it just seems horrible that the MCU has never given us the version of the Hulk we wanted to see. We wanted to see World was it World Breaker Hulk. We never got to see that version of him. So Pepper says Marvel, of course. Lyman says my favorite superhero is Hulk. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, so you already, so I'm preaching to the choir. You already know the Hulk's background. You already know he's actually a hero, unlike how people view him. Like they view him as a bad guy, but he is actually a hero. The problem is Bruce Banner has, multiple personality disorders. Pepper says mine used to be Spider-Man. So Spider-Man still is still one of my top heroes. Joe Doe says, "Hey, what's poppin'? Was good? Everything's cool, except for me because it's hot in here. So if you hear the sound of air or wind, that is my fan that you hear in the background. Also, you might hear some classical Chinese music playing in the background, which that one guy wouldn't understand because he was talking about we just had some incel in the chat room talking about he's in Japan and then he said ni hao, and I called him out on it, and then he was like, "Oh no, I meant to say asio, anyang asio." I'm like, "Yeah, that's Korean. That's neither one of those are Japanese." Like, we get these people. I guess he left because he realized I called him out on his bullshit. What martial arts did you teach? I still do teach. John Fan, Jeet Kune Do, Muay Thai, Kali, Salat, a little bit of boxing and Taekwondo, and Judo. Mind you, I'm not an expert in any of these things, but I've been practicing those different arts for so long that I realized that I'm in a position to teach others. So I teach them what I know, but I don't teach them anything for like certification. I teach them just so they can learn like practical self-defense. So I don't know what Terrace was writing. Maybe that was a typo. Yeah, so like I said, I still teach martial arts part-time as a self-defense coach. So I just saw Wolverine Deadpool today. Well, don't give it away for people who haven't seen it yet, because believe it or not, there are still people who haven't seen it. I'm actually one of them, but I don't care if you spoil it for me because I know the gist of what's going to happen, but I don't want it to be spoiled for others. Lyman says, "Badass, I play football, but I still like fighting." It makes sense. You play football since your handle is Lyman 8595. Yep. I appreciate it, Pepper. Thanks. When you say fighting, do you have a martial arts background or background in any of the combat sports? Tara says, "Do you need help? Really need help?" LOL, and you'll see. I don't know what you're talking about. So, anyway. And I wouldn't take unsolicited help from someone, online. That's not very wise. Back to the music. Okay, good. So anyway, can you guys hear the Chinese music? The Chinese music in the background, by the way. I don't want to turn it up too loudly because even though it's AI generated music, these AI generated music on these YouTube channels are actually copyrighted. So I used to practice karate, and I still practice boxing here and there. What's up. Do you remember what style of karate? Shotokan, which is the most common style that most people practice, is Shotokan. Some people might do Kempo, um, Okinawan traditional karate, uh, and like a bunch of different hundreds of different karate styles. I have no idea what you're talking about, Canny. But I'm pretty sure you're not making any. What you're saying is not patently true. You might want to sober up. And again, guys, I'm blunt, so get used to it. I'm polite but blunt. Now, unless he's talking about like England as an Olympics team, I have no clue what he's talking about. Good for you. I haven't drank in 20 years, but there's plenty of other substances out there. Traditional or taekwondo, okay. So like Okinawan traditional, like Goju Ryu or something like that. I've taken taekwondo as well. It's one of my favorite styles, even though it's not considered popular anymore. Like it's taekwondo nowadays is the punching bag of most martial arts places, but I still love the techniques. I love the fitness it provides people, because obviously to do all those acrobatic, all the acrobatic kicking requires you to be like kind of athletic. So I enjoy it. Well, Candy, we're not in England, my friend. Sober here means not just alcohol, means any sort of drug. Like, you're talking about your country is in flames. I assure you it's not. Again, unless you're talking about the Olympics team. But that's just weird to come onto a live stream and say something that off the wall. But anyway, okay, rioting happens all the time. That doesn't mean a country is in civil war. Have you not seen America? Chris Brown says hello. What's up? I guess it's not the Chris Brown that I know, not the celebrity Chris Brown, but I just had a friend whose name was Chris Brown, and it was funny when I met him because he's like a light skinned black dude as well. So I was like, guys don't ask each other their name off the top usually. So I was like, by the way, dude, what's your name? He's like, Chris Brown. I was like, yeah, I get it. That's funny. He's like, no, really, my name is Chris Brown. I was like, oh shit, okay, my bad. So it was pretty funny. Peppermint Harry says, I know you from the Mystic Community Channel, so I don't even know who that person is, but shout out to them. Arcadian Hobgoblin says, do you think everyday carry of firearms for self-protection will lead to a more violent society or less violent society, given if 70 to 90% of the population carry for this hypothetical situation? Didn't you ask? Did you not ask me that before? Because I'm pretty sure you asked me something before in a previous live stream, like a week, like maybe a few weeks or so ago. I can't really say if it's like, it depends. Like that depends on a lot of factors. Not everyone should have access to a firearm. I'm sorry. I'm a hardcore 2A guy, but I think people who are minors, people who are mentally disturbed, people who are very people who are woefully irresponsible shouldn't have access to firearms, and they definitely shouldn't be having it for personal carry, whatever sort of personal carry you consider, like concealed carry or constitutional carry or open carry, whatever. Like, no, I don't think it would make society safer if a bunch of dillholes were carrying firearms. I only trust people to carry them who I think are rational enough to use them. So, yeah. And I think by and large, half the population are a bunch of morons, so I wouldn't feel safe with most of them carrying. Chris Brown says, yeah, yes, indeed. I have not seen Mr. C in ages. Have withdrawn symptoms. Hello from me. Okay. So we just have firearm buybacks in Western Australia. Okay. Because I didn't think that many people even own firearms in Australia, so that's interesting to know. Kirkland Red says, have you gotten any opinions on the anti-migrant protests happening in the United Kingdom right now? No, because I haven't been privy to it right now, so pretty much everything here has been just nonstop election coverage, and the stuff that I have seen that doesn't pertain to election coverage didn't really talk about anything going on in the UK, and I'm not mining the news like that because I'm busy doing other stuff like working, going to the gym, working out, being with the wifey, and watching other stuff on TV that's more enjoyable. I don't find it enjoyable just watching the news for doom and gloom all day long. I want to watch like fun stuff. So, but I'll have to check it out to see what's going on about the whole anti-migrant thing. It seems like a precursor to what's going to happen here, depending on who gets elected, and pretty sure it's probably going to be Trump, but we kind of welcome the anti-migrant thing here because it's woefully out of control right now. Chris Brown says less guns equals safer society. Not necessarily. So I'm going to put on my behavioral research cap for a second, and I'll get back to everyone else's comments too. So more gun control generally gives you less violence. However, it depends on the details. The thing is, in places where there's not a lot of gun crime, it's usually replaced with other forms of crime like mass stabbings. So places where you don't see guns, you're going to see a bunch of people getting stabbed, because you're not going to stop violent people from doing violent things. You're just going to change the type of tool that they have to do it with. So it's more about mental health. And yes, having people having less access to guns, aka gun control, will lead to less violence. But that's a correlational connection. That's not a causational connection. So if you want to make things safer, requiring people who buy firearms to undergo training, they pass a background check, and maybe do a psych eval like they do in the Philippines. They have to do both a background check and a psych evaluation. And I think they have to undergo training. I'm not sure in the Philippines, but in other countries they have to undergo firearm training, which kind of just makes sense. So that I would think that would be more sensible. Kirkland Red says, I know there's barely any news on it at all. If it wasn't for Twitter, I wouldn't have any idea that it was happening. So I'm leery that this news is only coming through Twitter, because Twitter is not a reliable source of info. Like I said, if it's coming through like the Associated Press or Reuters, stuff like that, and then they, from Reuters and Associated Press, usually that stuff filters down to the other news outlets. And like I said, I haven't heard anything yet, but I'll be on the lookout for it. But if it's only coming from Twitter, I would be highly skeptical of it. Chris Brown says, a guy who owned guns with no criminal record had massive tumor in his brain. He went looking for his ex and SIT, killed a good ex of his friend and child in their house. Again, like I said, background check and psych evaluation. Now, if it were up to me, I've actually did a video on this like almost 2 years ago, and it wasn't very popular because I don't think a lot of people would like this idea. But I would have said, hey, instead of the background check and a psych evaluation, or along with the background check, instead of a psych evaluation, which would be pretty good by itself, I would say give them an IQ test. Like there would have to be a certain cutoff for a person to own a firearm based on the IQ, and if they don't have it, then they can't get the firearm, because IQ is associated with a lot of other things besides just general intelligence. But of course, that would be an immensely unpopular idea here in America and probably other places as well, but it would definitely work. So if you left it up to me, I would say, all right, well, pending your background check, you're going to do this IQ test, and as long as you score over a certain amount, you can own a firearm. But like I said, that wouldn't be very popular. And a lot of people will probably find it elitist and all this sort of stuff. I don't care. The point is, I know that from my understanding of how general intelligence is connected with many other mental abilities, that it would reduce gun violence significantly in the people who own firearms that might use them inappropriately. But I mean, you look at this. But like I said, you gotta look at the stats. Look at the nuance. What's not reported is most handgun crime are suicides. People unaliving themselves. That's not talked about. But most violence with handguns is due to people unaliving themselves. So that should be talked about. Which also leads to the point that people want to ban assault weapons. Most crimes aren't being committed with assault weapons. They're being done with handguns. So the assault weapon ban is kind of pointless. So, Nolan says guns are amazing. I agree. Sorry for that troll guy. He was back yesterday. Again, he's another one of these retards. So sorry, I'm blunt. Chris Brown says, good channel, like and subscribe. See you later. Thanks, Chris. Hope to see you soon. I don't know what you're talking about, Terrace. He said he ain't, and you tell him. I'm sorry, I just I'm not sure what you're referring to. But yeah, guys, like the whole, are you in California? That's where I live. No, I'm in Maryland. Uh, Life Free says lots of riots in England today. The people are rising up. I don't know if it's the rising up though, Life Free. I've, I believe Martin Luther King said a long time ago that the riots are usually committed by those who lack power. So it's the voice. Riots are the voice of the powerless. So, but anyway, like I said, getting back to the whole gun thing. So, like I said, it's very nuanced. Like I said, on one hand, I'm an advocate of 2A rights, but on the other hand, I recognize from behavioral research that strong gun control measures do reduce crime. However, the devil's in the details. So, Terrence says I'm from the UK and looks bigger on media. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I'll check it out when I get off live stream. But like I said, it's not something that's been talked about widely here in America. Because like I said, right now we're just obsessed with 24/7 election coverage, and on local news, they're pretty much just talking about things involving like local crime and politics and stuff like that. So I'll probably have to go to like BBC News or some other outlet like that, CNN International. Maybe even Fox or News Nation. Lyman says my mom's from Maryland, bless her soul. What part of Maryland is she from? I'm in the Baltimore area. Miss Needle, if you're still here, what is like what do people in Germany think about Stuttgart? Is it like a sexy city? Is it like considered like something like a small insignificant place, or is it like culturally relevant at all? Oh, she's from Baltimore. Okay, that's what's up. Hopefully, she's somewhere safe in Baltimore, because yeah, I'm sure you're familiar with how bad this city is. I live in like in the suburbs, like outside of Baltimore, so it's relatively peaceful here, more or less. But you do have the hood boogers that come from the city out to the county and cause problems. And then even more so, right? She's from the ghetto part. Well, a lot of Baltimore is the ghetto parts. So it's weird. Like, so here in Baltimore, so like, all right, so like in other cities, right? You'll have like your good parts of the city and your bad parts of the city. And Baltimore is like that too, but it's weird. Like it's more like a quilted patchwork. So instead of it being like a good neighborhood, like a good neighborhood here, a bad community there, it's more like by the block. So you'll be like, okay, this block is good, this block is bad, this block is good, this block is bad. And that's why it never made sense to like date chicks who live in the city, because they'll say, oh, well, because you'll be like, all right, where do you live? And they'd be like, oh, I live in, I don't know, say like Cherry Hill or something like that. I'm like, I'm not going out there. And the girl will be like, oh, no, 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 my block is safe. I'm like, yes, your block is safe, but I have to get through these other blocks to get to your block. So that's not a good idea. And I recklessly did that when I was younger. I wouldn't do that now. But um, yeah, like I said, the ghetto, like I said, when you say the ghetto part, is like I said, it's, if you know people from Baltimore, they'll tell you like it's very it's it's weird because like I said, you'll your mom might live on a safe block. I'm not even sure, or she might live on a bad block, but right next to her is a really nice block, or vice versa. So that's what sucks about Baltimore. Terrence Wilson said, if that's on the other way, are are you referring to someone else about that, or is that like a saying? Because you said it earlier, I didn't really catch it. I know you. I know you're referring to stuff going on in the UK. Sorry, I gotta grab some water, guys. See, I'm not familiar with how it is. Yeah, so she'll tell you if you ask. Plus, Baltimore is pretty divided between the West Baltimore and East Baltimore. There's also North and South Baltimore, but we don't really talk about that. Really, the only time you talk about South Baltimore is to refer to like the the region where a lot of the more normal people live. South Baltimore is considered like the heart of the city. But usually, when people are talking about Baltimore, they cut it up between East and West. And the way you would hear people talk about East Baltimore, West Baltimore, you would think they're talking about two different cities. I don't think it's that. I think it's just a huge stretch between traveling between each side of the city. So they seem like separate places. And when we were growing up, there was like these huge rivalries between the different parts of the city. So Tara says the contact is this channel. Thanks. Okay. I don't know if you're using this to message other people about what's going on out there, but all right. As long as it's not implicating me in any sort of violence. But I mean, there's some bad places in California too, Lyman. So, hey, like when I was in LA, there was places I wouldn't go. Um, like I wanted to check out Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, but I was like, I'm not going to Inglewood. I said, I'm just going to check out the one here in Hollywood. Thanks, Lyman. I appreciate it. Name a car for an edit. I don't know. I'm not a car person. Uh, and again, guys, if Terrace is talking about something violence related, I have no connection to that whatsoever. I don't support riots at all. I think they're pointless. So there's no such thing as a non-violent riot. That's that literally literally like part of what makes up a riot is that it's violent. There's non-violent protest, but there's no such thing as a non-violent riot. So, I was like, never mind, food's not ready yet. But yeah, what part of California are you in? Because like I said, California has some bad parts. Like I said, when I went to LA, I I went to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in Hollywood because I refused to go to the original location, which I think is in Inglewood. I can't remember if it's in Inglewood or Long Beach, but either way, I was like, yeah, I'm not going all the way out there. And I'm pretty sure I was dressed appropriately, like I didn't have on neither blue nor red, but still, I'm like, nah. One of the things I learned from Baltimore is you don't go to hoods that you don't know without being there with someone who can like speak for you, like vouch for you. So but Roscoe's was good. Someone said it wasn't. I was like, no, Roscoe's is pretty good. But a friend of mine at work said he wasn't impressed. I liked it. But guys, do you guys have any questions of me? I know most of you are new, so you may not be aware of some of the topics that I often address. So aside from politics, I will often address questions about martial arts, about fitness, about all things nerdy like comic books, superhero films, anime, uh, philosophy topics, which is my bread and butter, or given topics in science, like particularly like psychology or cognitive science. What else I'll talk about? Oh, traveling, stuff like that. Oh, you live in Orange County, so you're fine. You're in the OC. Yeah, so I guess it would be a big culture shock from going from OC to Baltimore. And to answer your question, well, not that you asked the question, but to answer any potential question, yes, the show that used to be on HBO was very realistic about Baltimore. At The Wire, which was a spinoff from a show called The Corner that came on regular TV. But again, guys, this is an Ask Me Anything format, so like I said, most days I have like a given topic, but I've set aside like one day a week where I'll let people ask me random stuff since I normally get random questions anyway, and I'll usually tell them, hey, either put it in a super chat or wait for my random topic day, which is today. And I think Miss Needle must have left because she didn't see my question to her. And PSC edits did say name a car for an edit, but I don't know what he means by a car for an edit. Like, how do you edit a car? So, yo, old man, hi, been a long time. How are you? Doing well, as always. Ran my 12K. Went to the gym and had leg day, which I know is like kind of overdoing it, right? Running 12K and then having a leg day in the gym, but it was fun. I saw a few yams, so. What I didn't like though is we were at a weight station and this older black lady asked can she work work through our set, and I'm like, I mean, it's two of us. It was already my homeboy and I, and it's like, yo, we don't want to share a wait station like with someone. Like, why can't she just wait? Like, she literally just sat her stuff down and just assumed like we don't want your sweat on our like we're cool with it, but I mean, you're a stranger. We don't want someone else's sweat on our like on our stuff while we're working out. That was weird. Terrace, I'm assuming since you're using my platform to send some sort of code to people that you, and there's only 6 people in the chat, so I don't exactly know whom you're sending that to, but I assume that you did like and subscribe. Lyman says, well, I'm visiting my mom to see her, but my house is in the desert. It's near El Mirage. It's a town called Helendale. Okay, I'm not familiar with it. God like says was fun, made me think and expand my vocabulary and intellect. So today's topic, God like, is just ask me anything Saturday, because I've had like topics every day of the week. So today's my day to just let loose and let people ask me random questions. But I appreciate it if the stuff I talked to you helped you in some sort of way, or at least had you thinking differently about those topics. All right, I appreciate it, Terrace. As long as you like and subscribe, like I said. I don't remember the topics we were discussing that day because it's been a while. It's been like a few weeks, so I don't remember which topics. I'm guessing it was something on probably related to philosophy. Because I know for many people who come to my live stream, the topics I bring up in philosophy are probably the first time they've ever heard of these things, which will be for most people who've never taken actual like academic philosophy. They're usually what they think of philosophy is some fortune cookie stuff that they that they've seen on TV. Lion says, "All right, just got my Domino's pizza. All right, so I guess you're gonna be gone, so you can enjoy your food. Talk with you later." I wouldn't mind some more food too, but I'm still full, so I don't want to be a glut. Besides, I don't know what I would fix. Now, if I had like ramen or something, I might make that, but I don't have any. And I don't want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But God like says, well, most people avoid discussions because they are hard and complicated. Besides, they can be filled with emotions, which a lot of people want to avoid, but you didn't then. LOL was a nice discussion. I appreciate it. Guys, can you hear the music in the background, or can you just hear the wind caused by the fan? My day was good so far. Like I said, worked out, had a hearty meal, been chilling, like, chatting it up with the wifey since it's her birthday. So, all in all, pretty good. But struggling to stay up because I'm tired and it's hot, so that makes it worse. So like I said, I didn't plan on staying on too long unless I've had like some conversation on here that lasts a while. But the the number of the people in the audience keeps wavering up and down. Like it goes from like 34 to 18 to 2 to 10 to 1. So This is why I was telling people I didn't really have need of a moderator yet, just because the numbers weren't consistent enough to need moderators just yet. Once you're talking consistently double and triple digit, when it comes to like the audience, or some people might even get quadruple and more, like in their audiences for some of the bigger, bigger channels. Like they would need mods and all that sort of stuff. But here, I don't really need a mod, but I still appreciate it if people want to drop supers, like super thanks, super chats, super stickers. So God, like says, did some work and helped my mom the past 3 or 4 days with the entire garden. We have a big one. They try to learn cooking now. Was trying to learn Python coding too, but was too busy past few days. Yeah, I remember a friend of mine was telling me, because I was telling him I had an idea for an app, a mobile app I wanted to create. He said, "Oh, just learn Python coding." I'm like, "Dude, that's not very helpful." And he realized now. He's like, "Oh yeah, you're right. That was probably not the best advice." He was like, "My bad," but appreciate it, Terrace. Thank you. As far as working on an entire garden, you can have that because I hate garden work. Like I hate gardening work. This is why I have a. This is why I own a townhome, because I don't have to do a bunch of gardening. Even the gardening that is done by my in-laws. They do the gardening. I'm not doing gardening. No way. I hate being. I hate doing stuff outside, cutting the grass, raking leaves, like everything about outdoors work. I mean, out like everything about landscaping and maintaining the garden bothers me. But I was hoping, like when I said this is a ask me anything day, that people would come in with their like more interesting questions, like things dealing with more high-minded things. Guy like says Python coding isn't the easiest coding program to. I would start with HTML and C++ or Java before going to Python coding. I just thought, F it. Right, that's what I'm saying. Like he just told me, oh, just learn some Python coding and you can do your own mobile app. I'm like, dude, what? That's not entry level stuff. Like even I knew that, and I don't even do like anything in computer science program, but I knew that that's not entry level stuff that he was asking me to do. Guy like says, but the weather's been hot the past days. Been warm all damn week. It's been more than warm here in on the East Coast. It's been a full on heat wave. It didn't stop me from working out, but it's been very uncomfortable. This is why fall is my favorite season. Not too cold. It's not too cool. Not too warm. It's just right. Spring is cool too, but I like fall better. There's no spring is like allergy season, so fall to me is better. That's where all the good holidays pop off, like my birthday, then Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of that good stuff. So fall is my favorite, and like I said, it's not too hot. People always wishing for the summer to come. I'm always like, all right, keep wishing for summer and see how hot it's gonna be. So I never wish for the summer during the winter. I enjoy the winter for what it is. The only thing I don't like about winter is that it gets dark early. Other than that, I'm fine with the cold weather. God likes says I get that, but pain is just suffering, and you can use suffering to become stronger. facts, maybe. Um, Depending on what you mean, pain isn't suffering necessarily, but obviously they're connected. It's the same until I get a giant snowball right in my face. uh, Dealing with a troll. But guys, can anyone hear the traditional music in the background, or do you only hear the wind? Which I think they go well together. Give me a second, guys. So yeah. Well, both the wind isn't quite setting with the old music, so you can hear the music. Okay. So the wind is actually my fan because it's hot. The AC unit hasn't been working the last couple of days. We were supposed to have a technician come in this afternoon to fix it. Apparently, all the technicians called out earlier today because of this heat wave, and basically a bunch of people who worked for the energy company as technicians refused to actually come into work today, and they had to cancel a bunch of appointments and reset our appointment for tomorrow morning. Hopefully they do that. Um, Especially because I can deal with it. It's just very uncomfortable. But my grandmother has a pre-existing health condition, and she's in her 80s, so it's not safe for her to be in this extreme heat. It's stuffy in the house, right? And she was complaining to the person on the phone, and so I took the phone and was seeing just to make sure this person wasn't being rude to my grandmother, but she actually wasn't. She felt pretty contrite about it. She was like, oh, I'm just really sorry. She was like, we've been calling people all day, letting them know the appointments have been canceled because our technicians haven't shown up decided not to show up for work to take any of their appointments, which is crazy. I was like, yeah, I get it, but it's uncomfortable for them, but it's literally their job. I was like, and I'm not being snobbish about that because I used to work at the cable company back when I first came out of the army. Well, no, I'm sorry, not when I was in the army. I also worked um, on the civilian side for Comcast cable, and yeah, working in people's houses can be very uncomfortable at times, but it was the job. So Zed says, "What's up? What's going on, Zed?" Guy says, "Damn, sorry to hear about that. Yeah, your granny's okay. She's fine. It's just very uncomfortable for her. But I am worried. Like I said, because originally they told her September, and I'm like, oh no, September's not working. They told her that yesterday. No. I'm sorry, not yesterday. She told me that they, they would have a maintenance come in September. I was like, no, we're not waiting for them to do like their maintenance. Like we need to call now and have a service call come out and fix the AC unit. And comes the she's her memory isn't all there because she didn't realize that she has a unlimited service call plan. So, and the lady was even telling her, she's like, you have unlimited service calls. She's like, yeah, we can come out anytime. And they was like, we'll come out tomorrow, which was supposed to be today. But if I had to redo it, I would have asked her if they could have came out the previous day, like that very day. Very unlikely though that they can bring someone out the same day. So that's why I would say tomorrow. That's fine. But we'll see. If they don't come tomorrow, then I have to make some other steps. Sorry for that long diatribe. But I am about to go myself, guys. Like I said, it's really hot, and I was looking for like good questions to keep this going. Like I said, I don't mind whatever questions as long as they're appropriate. We can keep this going. Lyman says, so I've never heard the term contrarian. What is that? So Lyman, I'm guessing you're kind of young, my friend. You haven't heard the word contrarian before? So contrarian, so I'm gonna say what contrarian usually refers to, and I'm gonna say why I use it, which are not the same. Okay. So contrarian usually refers to someone who always likes to take the unpopular viewpoint on any given topic. That's why they call contrarian, like they're contrary to popular opinion, right? So oftentimes these contrarians who like to take the minority or unpopular viewpoint on any given topic often will do it just to sound clever. Like they'll just disagree with everyone else just to sound like the most clever person in the room. And that leads to why I call myself just a contrarian, because oftentimes if I disagree with people, even though they're in the majority, they'll just say, "Oh, you're just a contrarian," which is not the case at all. But they're they're mistaking the fact that just because they're in the majority that they're in the right, and that's not necessarily true. Um, so that's where I got the title from, and that's what contrarian means: someone who takes the minority viewpoint or unpopular opinion to the majority. Galaxy says, no, it's fine. Haha, do you think I'm about to go? It's 3:41 here. Hey, no problem. Zed says, sorry, man, I just got here. Oh, you didn't miss anything, Zed. This is just Ask Me Anything day. Godlight says, good night, all. Have a wonderful day. Thanks, Godlight. But yeah, guys, I probably gonna wrap it up myself unless I have some other questions. Now tomorrow I will have a given topic but like I said, I like to do this once a week because sometimes, depending on the time, either the time of day or whatever, I might get a lot of good comments and stuff. Son Goku says Cristiano Ronaldo is the GOAT. Remember, uh, if you say he is, I don't know. You say I have a diet question? All right, shoot, go ahead. Have you been sticking to your fitness routines, Ed? Have a good day, sir. Later. No problem, Goku. You can just instant transmission yourself. I appreciate you liking a subbing as well. Thank you. I really appreciate that. To me, liking a subbing is sometimes better than people dropping a super chat because it helps me build the channel like piece by piece. It doesn't matter. Like I appreciate any like any sub. To me, it's flattering. So, but you better go before Frieza or Lord Champa get at you. And yes, I'm a Dragon Ball Z nerd, obviously, right? Zed, are you still typing your question? So I'm not gonna go before he has his chance to answer his question. Oh, here we go. So yeah, I took a couple of days off because I was really sore from working out muscles I've never worked on before. Yeah, that makes sense. I would say you should keep, even on those off days, you should still be stretching. Stretch on those off days. And I mean, I don't know if you are into it or not, but you could maybe use creatine. That'll cut down on that muscle soreness. I remember a lot of guys were using it in the army, and I refused to, just because back then it was '98, and I was like, well, this drug is relatively new, so we don't know the long term effects. So I was like, I'm not gonna mess with it. Now, skip 20 plus years, like what, 26 years now. Like creatine is relatively safe, so I wouldn't mind telling people that they can use it. But back then, I wouldn't have recommended it just because it was so new. But you still didn't ask the diet question. Yeah, your question didn't go through. The only thing I saw was you talking about your muscle soreness. Nothing else came through. The YouTube's algorithm is very particular, which is weird because people will come in and say all sorts of offensive things, but when people are not saying something offensive, then they'll get blocked. So I, I don't pretend to know the algorithm. You might have to re you might have to state it in another way. Or, and I'm not trying to get into your pockets, but you can drop it in a super chat, and I'm pretty sure it will show it. Miss Neil says, "What matters the most to you in life?" I, I don't know. I don't think there's one, because I don't think there's one thing that matters to me more than others. I mean, obviously, my wife is up very close to the tippy top, but it's also my personal fitness and learning. I don't think there's one over, like, just one thing I would put in that basket. It's probably like a bunch of different things I would put in that basket. But like I said, my personal fitness, my wife, um, pursuing the pursuit of reason, those are probably the most important things to me. Says sorry, it's about protein in plants. Plants have amino acids, so protein from meat isn't needed, right? Plants also help with detox. So, yes, plants have amino acids because they have a protein structure. All protein is built off the amino acids. That doesn't mean meat isn't needed. We evolved to be omnivores. So regardless of what some vegetarians might say, it's a healthy human diet would contain some animal protein. Not to mention, um, so you can get all your essential amino acids in a full protein breakdown through just plants, but the the difference is the quality in protein. The best quality protein still comes from meat, although yes, you can replace animal protein with plant protein, but plant protein doesn't have the same quality that animal protein has. And then you also have to talk about what's called bioavailability, which is basically body's of, of your body's ability to actually use those micronutrients. Not all micronutrients are equally bioavailable to your body. Like some are better, are easily more processed by your body than others. Meat is the best source of protein, bar none. So you can supplement animal protein with plant protein, but animal protein will still be the best. Um, Plants, you don't need plants to detox. The whole idea of detoxing is a marketing scam. Your body already has an endocrine system that's built for detoxing. You have a liver and two kidneys that does all of the detoxing for you. Most of these detox things, pre, pretty much all they do is remove the helpful bacteria from your gut. That's not a good thing. Like when people detox and they see all that gook that come out from the detoxing process or doing enemas and all this sort of stuff, all they're doing is removing the healthy bacteria that's in their bodies. I don't recommend detoxing. Like, only time you should detox is if a physician or a dietitian tells you to do so. Otherwise, you don't need to do so. Um, like I said, your body already detoxes on its own because it has a liver. It has it has your kidneys and other parts that I'm not going to mention, which would be boring outside of like an anatomy class. But you have a full like detoxification system in your body already. There's no need to search for supplements or foods that detox you. Miss Needle is absolutely right. She says meat has more biological availability, I think, so they're better to be digested. Absolutely. GJC says evening. What's up, GJC? I I don't know if you remember. I was telling you the last time you were on GJC that you missed the topic that you gave me last week. Well, earlier this week. Like I did that topic the very next day. Then you didn't come. I didn't see you for like 2 days until like 2 days afterwards. But you didn't stick around long enough, and I was telling you that I had actually did your topic on like deadbeat dads or whatever, but you didn't show up. I made it more general when I was talking about irresponsible parents, including deadbeat dads, but definitely did that topic for you. Miss Neal says plant protein doesn't hurt though. It has fiber, absolutely. So like I said, it should be a combination of both animal protein and plant protein, but the plants, for the most part, you're not looking for the protein from them, except for legumes. Like legumes, you want are good sources of protein and fiber, but you pretty much look for plants to get your carbs, your fiber, and your starches. Like not so much protein, but you can do so. Especially usually the the plant-based protein, the best version is a combination of rice rice and beans. Rice and beans gives you a full protein uh, of all your essential amino acids. But again, the quality isn't as good as animal protein at the end of the day. Zan says I've been trying to meet my daily protein with meat and it's really expensive. Yeah, but um, you, you're probably overeating to tell you the truth because it doesn't take much meat to equal the amount of protein that you have to eat much more plant protein to meet your daily protein intake than how much it would take you to get your daily protein intake through meat. So yes, it would be cheaper for plant-based foods, but remember you have to eat much more of it to meet that daily protein intake. And for most people, that's about what 56 grams of protein, something like that. Miss Neil said, "Oh yeah, and the mass-produced animal products are having lots of antibiotics in them." That's true. Miss Neil says, "Mix it up, I guess, with beans, chickpeas, eggs, maybe." But I get it. I'm struggling too. Yeah, we all are. Seriously. That's why you guys can drop that super chat. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But um, yeah, like I said, mix it up. But you definitely want to have some animal protein because that's, especially as you're on your fitness journey, Zed, you're going to need animal protein. Uh, TJC says don't quote unquote detox. Just give your body a break from drinking or junk food and watch the difference it makes. Yep, exactly. People keep saying they want detox. You don't need to detox. You just need to eat better. But your body already has a whole system of detoxification through this. It's endocrine system. GJ says, I wish I was there for the irresponsible parenting discussion, but ironically, I was busy being a good parent. Good save. That's a good save. Very good save. So I appreciate you covering the topic though, and no worries. I mean, you can always go back. Since I upload every live stream, you can just go back to that stream. I think it was Wednesday of it was either Tuesday or Wednesday, so you can go back and check it out. Blaine Dirty says spinach is a good source of vegetable protein and easy to grow. It's a good source, but it's an incomplete protein. That's what I was saying. Like the only like for the most part, like what I know for having a complete protein source is going to be a combination of rice and legumes. Those give you a complete plant protein source. Whether that's like rice and peas, rice and beans, rice, whatever. Like combination of beans and rice, which some of our ethnic groups have known for a long time, give you a good protein, a good source of protein. And if you can't do that, I mean, you can also get protein supplements like the shakes or whatever. However, like I said, the shakes aren't as good as actually like food. Like the shakes can supplement your protein intake, but they can't replace it. Miss Nia says spinach and greens are good. Yes. Says okay, so balance a diet with meat and plants to meet my daily protein need. I'm seeing all of these diets online. I'm trying them, but it's just not working for me. Because you need to stop with these diets. Don't think diet. Think just like normal eating. The problem with diets is that they're meant to be temporary. Like you want to make a you want a change that's lifelong, a lifelong healthy habit, not just a diet. So all these little things you see online and advertised, these are fads and they're not very well backed by science. You want to eat in a way that you can do it all the time, not just like for the purposes of like cutting weight or whatever. Like unless you're like trying to cut weight because you're doing competition either in combat sports or bodybuilding or something like that, then fine, go ahead and use some sort of fad diet to do that. But if we're just talking about normal living, you should get out of the habit of doing diets and just find a way to eat whatever you like within proportion. Like that's how you should look at it. Eat what you like, but just in good proportion, and stop trusting all these different diets. The thing of, like I said, just eat what you want, but make sure you're covering all your bases. You're getting a source of protein, your carbs, your fiber, and even a little bit of fat. You need a little bit of fat in your diet, despite what people think. And for a guy, meat is quite important. we need it to for the processing of testosterone. And I think more women actually need meat too, because a lot of them. That's why a lot of them uh, have low iron in their blood because they don't eat enough meat. And I'm not gonna even make a joke about that. Miss Nita says, yeah, maybe do tracking with my fitness pal or something to keep an eye on it. Like I said, generally for most normal people, about roughly about 56 grams of daily protein intake is recommended. So trying to lose fat but not muscle, that's not how it works. You can't cut fat. That's not how. You need to stop going to these unscientific sources of information online. You don't cut fat. And especially like people want to cut fat in just one part of their body. That's not how it works. When you lose weight, you lose weight everywhere. And if you want muscle, you need to have more protein in your diet. Protein builds muscle. So looking to chomp on plants and build muscle is not a good idea. You need to eat meat. No diddy. And you can eat less carbs, more meat. And again, I get meat is expensive, but it takes less meat to meet your dietary protein intake than it does plants. It takes a lot more of rice and a lot more of pasta and beans to equal how much it would be just for a small piece of red meat to meet your daily protein. Says, thanks guys, it's not easy finding people like you online. No problem. Miss Neil says, Zed, you welcome, man, and don't slack on the vitamins and micronutrients. I'm paying a price right now because surgery's messed up my GI tract big time, so please pay attention. Also, your gut is important. You have to take a lot of antibiotics, etc., to get, etc. You got to rebuild it, or it will go off balance and the system goes haywire. Exactly. That's why you don't want to detox, guys. Don't detox, because when you detox, you're actually getting rid of all the healthy gut bacteria in your body when you detox. Don't do it. You like, first of all, you're spending unnecessary money on something your body already naturally does, and two, you're actually causing an imbalance in your body. So, don't do it. Josh says maybe more vegetables. Not for what he's doing, Josh. He's trying to lose weight while building muscle. He's also like, we've talked in the past about his fitness journey. So right now he needs to be eating more meat and less carbs. Like he needs to be cutting carbs out of his diet and just having a higher, uh, uh, um, uh, a larger protein intake in his meals. Miss Nia says also fiber is not good for everyone. It can cause issues for some people, but it depends. Yeah, that's true. Like I said, we're assuming he doesn't have any pre-existing conditions out there. But obviously, if you're still here, if you're still here, Zed, consult your physician before you try any sort of diet. Like I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a physician, I'm not a certified nutritionist, although they're kind of useless. But anyway, I'm not any of those three things. So before you try anything, go to your physician, tell them, hey, I'm actually, trying out this little fitness thing right now. I'm trying to cut weight, like I'm trying to lose weight, but I also want to build muscle. What do you recommend? And your physician will be able to help. A lot of people, I don't understand, a lot of people actually don't tell their physicians about what they're trying to do fitness and nutrition wise when they're actually the best source to go to for that. People think they're not taught things about fitness and nutrition, and physicians are definitely taught those sort of things. Says you have to lose 60 pounds to reach the weight limit for the Air Force. I remember that. Like I said, cut down on carbs, which also cut down on money. Like that's gonna cut your money costs too. and then instead put that money towards more protein in your diet. And you should be working out every day. Every day. Maybe take Sunday off, but other than that, you should be working out every day. Maybe take Sunday off. Now I'm hard headed. I work out every day, including Sundays, because I'm obsessed like that. I need to run and shadow box every day, but you don't have to take it that far. But you should be working out 6 days a week right now, and you need to be eating more protein, animal protein, and less carbs. Carbs will get you fat. Zen says, do you know if your blood type will tell you what kind of food your body responds best to? I don't think so. Your blood type is genetic. Like, TB, what's to be, oh, to be frank. William Jones says, to be frank, dude looks like he works out consistently, not gonna lie. Well, not do. I literally work out every day, guys. Like, um, this Saturday I didn't have much to do, and it was a storm, so I didn't go to the Baltimore Artscape, um, and didn't go to the comic book store or the Asian festival downtown. So just went to work out, did like a 12K run, then went to the gym, did leg day. Was here watching TV now, had like a meal, chilling with wifey, and talking to you guys. But yeah, Zed, again, as the whole blood type thing, I don't know. Honestly, I don't want to lead you astray. If you have a family a family physician, primary care physician, they would be the person to ask those questions. Like, does your blood type correspond to the type of food your body responds best to? As far as I know, though, from my limited knowledge on those sorts of things, I don't think so. Miss Nia says good nutrition, um, and workout. You should have no issues with no prior disease. Pretty simple. Liam says it's an English colloquialism, I believe. Okay. I thought 2BF means like, to be frank or. So it says, okay, all these topics are what confused me from online. There's no real way that I found to test these claims without putting myself at risk. That's what you shouldn't be doing. But these sort of things are not new as far as losing weight, getting fit. All these things have been known for like the last 50 years. Look, it's pretty simple. You exercise every day. You watch what you eat. You eat more protein, less carbs and fat. That's it. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's not really. It's not that difficult. Like, what confuses people is that all these little fad diets and self-help gurus come in and confuse people with all these little things, like the Dr. Atkins diet and all this. No, no, forget all that fad stuff. The nutritional science, the exercise science, that stuff is solid. You need to be more discerning in the stuff that you look up online. Like I said, work out every day, especially, and I told you before several weeks ago. I said if you want to lose weight in a consistent way, and in a pretty rapid way, but in a way that's both healthy and rapidly, you need to be cardio. You need to be hitting the cardio every day. Cardio every day, which is supplemented by strength training or by muscular endurance training, which is like push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups. But if you have access to a gym or you have access to weights or exercise machines, then you need to be doing strength training to supplement your cardio every day. And watching what you eat. Now, since you're trying to lose weight, you need to be taking in less calories than you actually need per day. Like the average person needs about 2,000 calories per day. So you need to be eating a little bit less than that. And the best way to do that and also feel a sense of satiety or feel, filling with your meals is to eat more meat and less plants. Meat gives you more of a feeling, a feeling of being full than plant-based foods does, and it also is a better source of protein. So again, this is not novel information. Eat more meat, exercise every day, particularly your cardio, and supplement that with strength training and or in muscular endurance training. That's it. But also, like I said, check with your primary care physician. Just because we don't know if you have any underlying issues that can prevent you from attaining your goals. So you should probably be talking. You should probably be getting a physical done and talking to your primary care physician, letting them know that you're trying to cut 60 pounds of body weight so that you can join the Air Force, and they can recommend you some steps, or refer you to a dietitian who can help you. Ms. Needle says if you do have underlying problems, you will have to research a lot yourself because doctors just don't have the time or listen good enough talking from experience. Also, you got to stick to the changes. Don't go crash diet and then go back to old ways. You got to change it long term. Well, I agree with that latter part, but the first part, doctors do know a lot, but you, I, you guys in Germany have a different healthcare system. Here, we have to pay for healthcare, so I think doctors will take more time to listen to you sometimes. But even if they can't, like I said, they can refer him to a dietitian or someone like that. Says I have two dumbbells and a pull-up bar in my house. I run at 4 a.m., work out around 6 or 7 p.m., then sleep like a baby. Sounds good. They said they almost let me die a few times because they wouldn't believe me. No, I don't doubt you, Miss Needle. Like I don't know if you were in my stream when I was telling you like my journey with having a stomach ulcer. Like no one knew how to take care of it. Like they just kept prescribing me antacids until I found out that there was a medical scientist who actually won the Nobel Prize, who discovered that the ulcer is actually caused by a bacterial infection in your stomach, not through stress, not through food, none of those things. Like it's actually caused by a bacterium, Helio pylori, and told the doctor, I was like, um, I said, I've had an ulcer for a long time, and I've read that it can be caused by a bacterial infection. I was like, do you think I can get tested for that? And the doctor was like, actually, yeah. He said, let's just run a test. And it was like, yeah, you do actually have that bacteria in your stomach. Here's a here's an antibiotic for it. Took that 2 weeks later, never had an ulcer again. So yeah, I understand that sometimes doctors can miss things, which makes sense that sometimes you have to do your own research. However, the problem is some people don't know how to do online research. That's the problem. Like they'll go down a rabbit hole of bad information. So no, I missed that one. But yeah, so that's what happened with me. Liam says protein is the best way to feel satiated. Exactly. And it is the most economical way to stave off hunger pains. But as Bro says, check in with your physician. Exactly. Miss Neal says bacteria is no joke. Almost took me out with going septic. Oh, shit. Um, says my doctor said everything was fine when I got blood work. He said I had high cholesterol. That wasn't too bad. But that was it. I was told to exercise. His words. Yeah, he could have been. He could have done a little bit better than that. But I'm telling you what to do. Cardio, particularly like either running, rucking, skipping rope, rowing, hiking, that sort of thing. Ms. Neal says, yeah, I meant research on biomedical sites like legit medical websites or study materials for universities or studies. Yeah, the problem is most people don't know how to do that, Ms. Neal. Like they go to like, at best, they might go to like WebMD, and WebMD can send you down a rabbit hole of thinking you have something and you may not have it, or you may have something completely other than what you've been researching on WebMD. And most people don't know that it's more accurate information that you get from university websites or government websites than these private ones, the .coms. You're better off going to a .edu or a .gov when it comes to like scientifically accurate information, particularly the .edus, because academic scientists are the, the ones who correspond the most to like getting things right. Government websites are good too for some things, but they have their biases. But I would prefer people go to edu sites or .gov sites than to .com sites when it comes to anything pertaining to like science, medicine, and the like. Liam says WebMD is the best way to believe you have cancer no matter the ailment. Exactly. That's my point, Liam. That's exactly my point. Like WebMD can send you down a rabbit hole of thinking you have something, and lo and behold, your condition is completely benign, but now you think you have all sorts of things wrong with you. It sort of reminds me of the first year medical school uh, um, phenomena. So there's a situation. This also happens in psychology, but so first year medical students, once they start learning about all the different medical pathologies, they start worrying that they have these diseases. Same thing with like psychology students. The first time they take like a class in psychopathology, they start thinking that they have all these mental health problems. So um, it's now these are people who are actually in a position to know things, and they're being led astray. So you can imagine what the average person with no training in any science or any medical would how they would feel learning about certain things, looking at WebMD and some other like um, irresponsible websites where just because you have symptoms pertaining to something that you see online, you automatically assume that you have the illness associated with those symptoms. So says running is for carb burning and strength training is for fat loss, right? That's all I see online. Running is immediate exhaustion and workouts burn calories while you sleep. So, running in the morning is great and I'm glad you're doing it because it means you're going to burn energy for the rest of the day when you kick off your day early in the morning running. So that's great. I'm glad you're doing that. Strength training, like I said, in the evening is best. So you're doing that well as well. Um, yes, strength training does burn fat. Both of them burn fat, but the strength training is also building muscle. The running doesn't really build muscle. Well, it does build leg muscle actually, but I mean, you get what I'm saying. Zed says I haven't been losing weight, so I guess it's my diet. Actually, you might be. You're probably wrong. So, uh, muscle is a denser skeletal like muscle, like skeletal muscle is a denser tissue than fat. So sometimes when people are actually losing weight, they can't tell because since they built more muscle, they might actually weigh more. But you can't. But the only thing you're seeing is, oh my God, I'm still heavy, or I'm actually gaining weight, not realizing that what you've lost in fat, you've gained in muscle. So a lot of people aren't aware of that when they start their weight loss journey, that muscle is a denser tissue than fat. So oftentimes it'll look like you're not losing weight. You did lose weight, but you gained muscle in return. So you still may not, so you may not see that difference when you get on the scale. The scale may even show you heavier now than before, because again, protein is a denser tissue. So, so you probably have lost you probably have lost significant body fat, but you can't tell because you've also gained muscle in return. Liam says cardio and strength training is symbiotic. I agree. Liam says don't say muscle weighs more than fat. That is a myth. No, I didn't say it weighs more. I said muscular tissue is denser than fat. That is not a myth. That is a fact. Skeletal muscle tissue is denser than fat. Adipose, which is fat, is called adipose tissue. Muscles, your skeletal muscle fibers, they are denser than adipose tissue, which is fat. That is a fact. I've taken anatomy and phys. I remember that for a fact. Fat simply carries more water. Delphi says, hey brother, did you end up watching Deadpool? I actually haven't. I was supposed to watch it last Saturday. And, well, no, I'm sorry, not Saturday. I was supposed to watch it Tuesday, and I didn't. Oh, and that's actually, and just to clarify, Liam, so there's actually two different types of muscle fibers. There's your skeletal muscle fibers, then there's your cardiopulmonary muscular tissue, which is like makes up your heart and lungs. That's a different actually type of muscle fibers than your skeletal muscles, which is striated. But cardiac muscles aren't striated like skeletal muscles. That's how you can tell the difference between them. Striated means like striped, like so. But yeah, very dense tissue, which is why we preferred when we eat, like we tend to eat those muscular parts of the animals that's dense in protein. Says okay, so just keep doing what I'm doing and just see results in a couple of months. Yeah, you should. Like I said, a scale won't tell you that you've lost fat. It can only tell you whether you lost weight. Losing fat and losing weight aren't the same things. So that's what I'm trying to clarify. You've probably lost significant body fat, but you didn't lose weight because you replaced that fat with more muscle. So it's going to be a process, right? It's going to be a process. So don't be discouraged. Like I said, most people when they start their weight loss journey, they get discouraged because they don't see the weight coming off, and that's because they don't realize that what they've lost in the fat, they've replaced in muscle. But as you lose more body fat, you're not only gonna see a difference, but the difference is gonna show up on your scale as well. And if you want a more accurate reading of your body composition, you should actually do that with the excuse me, with the physician. The physician can give you a much more accurate body composition than you can just weighing yourself on a bathroom scale at home. So, Miss Neal said he's still avoiding trailers like the plague. Yeah, I sure am. I sure am. Jose says it's kind of hard to hear you. I'm sorry. Let me make sure my volume is all the way up and the fan isn't too big of a distraction. I'll repeat that. So I was saying that when people start their weight loss journey, they're often discouraged because they think losing weight is equal to losing fat, and they're not. And I was saying, when you first start, you're not gonna notice that you're losing fat because the weight hasn't changed much, and that's because as you're starting that process, you're replacing fat with muscular tissue, and being that muscular tissue is more dense, it's gonna make it look like you haven't changed, but you have. But like I said, it's a process. Eventually, you're going to lose more and more body fat, and it's going to show up on the scale as well. But like I said, if you actually want an accurate analysis of your body composition as far as fat to muscle, then you can do that at the physician office. The physician can give you a much more accurate analysis of your body composition than you simply just weighing yourself on a bathroom scale. Your bathroom scale is going to simply say, hey, I weigh 160, but it doesn't tell you what that 160 is comprised of. Is it comprised of mostly fat, mostly muscle? So, uh, Dilfer says, have you ever done a DEXA test to see what your body fat is and how much lean muscle you have? Are you asking me, or you asking Zed? Liam says, I understand. I'm happy to be elucidated. No problem, Liam. So yeah, if you're referring to me, I think I've done one long time ago in one of my courses. or so, I think I've done one before, but I don't need it because I've never been like overweight. Well, no, I've been overweight, but not like overweight. Like my weight has been like I don't know, but I've never been fat. Put it that way. But what I would consider overweight, most people don't. But any case, if you're referring to Zed, that is a good question for him. Miss Nita says, Zed, pay attention to ingredient labels too if you don't already do that. Yeah. Problem is some of these ingredient labels are very confusing, and it's done intentionally so that people can't understand what actually is in these foods that we eat. So they make it like difficult to the point that there's even like chemists that say, hey, I understand this stuff, but this stuff is very confusing. Like when a chemist says this is confusing information, you know that there's some fuckery afoot. Dilfer says, Miss Nito, I stopped watching trailers too. They spoil everything. Yeah, because it's so bad nowadays, Dilfer. Like, you have trailers to the trailers. Like, I forgot what they call the trailers to the trailers. But that's ridiculous. Like, you have these things come out, and they're basically advertising that there's a trailer coming out soon for a movie. Like, I was like, damn, so now the movie trailers need a trailer themselves. It's like, what's left of. And then the thing is, the only time they don't give away information on the movie is when the trailer is completely misleading to what's actually in the movie, which has happened a few times. And people have actually started suing movie studios for giving out misleading information in their in their trailers, which is just funny. Miss Neal says, Dilford, don't they always? Haha, they really ruin it for me too. Like, you kind of watch the whole movie in 2-minute trailers. Liam says it's the whole thing of looking at a scale rather than the mirror. Yeah, like I said, the mirror can be misleading, Liam, because some people have body dysmorphia. So they literally look at their body and see something that's not there compared to what someone else would see if they looked at that same person. Like, so people often have these problems with body image, like I said, like dysmorphia, or also, like I said, people just can't. When you see yourself every day, you can't really see the progress that you're making because you're seeing it in such gradual, minute changes that don't realize it until you've taken like 3 months and you actually looked at a before photo from like 3 4 months ago till now, and then you can see exactly you can see the changes. But if you're just looking at yourself each day in a mirror, you can't tell those gradual changes. There's an example for me. I know, like when I had back in like college, when I got my teeth bleached, and after the process was done, and the dentist was like, how do you like the results? And I was like, to be honest, I don't see too much results. And she was like, are you serious? She was like, look. She was like, here, look. She gave me the chart for the color of the tooth enamel. She said, look at this. She said, this is where you were, and this. And she said, look how white your teeth are. She said, your teeth are whiter than the whitest part on the chart. She said, so it's worked. I was like, oh shit, I didn't realize it. I was like, well, I couldn't tell because when I'm looking in the mirror every day, I don't see those changes. And she's like, yeah, see, that's why. She's like, that's why we use this tooth chart so people can actually see the progress of the color of the enamel of their teeth from the beginning to the end. And I was like, gotcha. Plus, the reflection of your teeth in the mirror can be affected by the light source, so that might change how white they look or don't look. But similar to that is how people see themselves in the mirror when they're trying to lose weight or gain muscle and stuff like that. Like when you're just looking at yourself daily, those that those very minute improvements can't be noticed. So, Zed says, I'm writing all this down. I'm getting further here than I have researching online. Jeff says YouTube doesn't help to when people release videos with titles that spoil key parts of movies. True. Very true. I'm avoiding all that, like the Matrix. Liam says, yeah, I completely agree. Miss Nito says, Zed, yeah, of course, and I hope the best for you. We all rooting for you. Liam says that's why bodybuilders go through a process of bulking and then they cut. See, yeah, so the cutting weight that bodybuilders do is extreme. It's sort of like the extremes that fighters go through when they got cut weight to make a fight. It often involves dehydrating themselves to get to that desired level. Basically, they dehydrate themselves and they fast. I don't recommend that for a person who doesn't need to do so. Like if you're just trying to lose, like if you're trying to lose weight, well, he's trying to lose weight to join the Air Force, and in doing so, depending on how long it's going to take him, he can fast, but I'd rather him do it through just gradually like just having a caloric deficit instead of fasting outright. Instead of outrightly fasting, he can just do a caloric deficit. Like that's always been proven to lose, like to for people to lose fat, lose weight, is take your like your uh, intaking less calories than you actually need per day. So if the average is for most people 2,000, then he should be taking in less than 2,000. But because he's also physically active, like he has to exercise, he doesn't want to. You gotta be careful with that caloric deficit because a physically active person actually needs more than 2,000 calories per day. So for him, I'll actually say to keep it at 2,000 per day, because a physically active person who's actually running and strength training is probably gonna need significantly more than 2,000 calories per day. Like every time I run, I'm burning at least 1,000 calories. So that's half. That's half the calories I need per day gone before by the beginning of the freaking day, or whenever I run. So I obviously need to eat more than 2,000 calories per day because I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm just trying to maintain what I currently have. I probably can eat somewhere around 4,000 calories a day if I'm like both like running and doing my strength training and martial arts for the day, I'm going to need more than 2,000. So Miss Neal says, Delfredo, yeah, and then the algorithm pushes it even more in your face. Haha, cruel. Liam says, I've been overweight or fat in my late teens. See, I've always had somewhat of a mesomorphic body type, so I've never gotten very overweight. Like usually, if I stop working out, I just lose mus my muscular composition, but I don't really get fat. So difference is Pam spray is so misleading. It has 200 servings in one aerosol can, so it can say it's low calories. Low calories is just misleading anyway. Like I hate that the 80s and 90s were so misleading with all these foods that said no fat, low fat, zero fat, no calories. Calories always equals fat. So even if something was zero, so it was always misleading for something to say zero fat or no fat or low fat because even if it is, it still has a certain amount of calories attached to it, and those calories, if they're not burned off, become fat just by the process of how we store energy. Like calorie is literally a unit of energy, so any calories not burned off is stored in your body um, as reserve energy, which is in the form of fat. Liam says crazy when they do the coming up for a 2 minutes trailer. It speaks to a society that needs an immediate dopamine hit. Yep. Liam says that's a great point. I hadn't thought about it. Thank you. Liam's Dilfer, excuse me, Dilfer says, Liam, the good thing about being overweight is that you are essentially in a bulking phase, so that in time you will build muscles much faster than a skinnier person. Sometimes. So both the skinny person and the fat person lack muscle, right? Because the thing is, you're not converting fat to muscle. You're losing fat and building muscle. So it's not. So it's not. I think that's kind of the misleading thing that people think like a fat person is just converting the muscle to. I mean, converting the fat to muscle, but they're not. Like they have to lose the fat while building the muscle. Whereas the skinny person has to only needs to build muscle. They're not trying to lose fat. They're just trying to build muscle. They're just trying to bulk up, so to speak. And that comes through correct strength training. Sometimes people don't weight train correctly. Like they try to do too many reps. Like if you if you if the goal is strength training and bulking, you shouldn't be doing any more than 8 reps per set. Beyond that, you're just doing muscular endurance, which is not going to lead to you bulking, or it's going to lead to more muscular endurance, which is going to keep you more toned. Liam says, yeah, the granular nature of weight loss can be a chore. It can be a chore, but at least it's like a surefire thing. Like we know the process of weight loss, caloric deficit, exercise. That's it. Says I've been skinny my whole life, but ever since I started college, I've been stationary and kept the same diet. I used to play sports and eat a lot. Jennifer says, "Yep. Some days are easy and some days are hard when it comes to going to the gym." Yeah, that's why like my primary workout is here at home. Like just putting on some sneakers and going for a run. That's my primary workout. And then coming back home and just doing my shadow boxing. Then for me, the gym is a supplement, mainstay. That way, if I can't make it to the gym or whatever, like I've already done the bulk of my workout for the day. Miss Neal says, "Yeah, the common thing is that people actually gain weight in college for the very reason." Yeah, we've all heard of the freshman 15, but a lot of us would be like, "Man, that girl didn't gain freshman 15. She gained like a freshman 40." It's like she started off the beginning of the semester, just nice trim, nice little waistline with the booty. Now she's built like Grimace. Like that wasn't a freshman 15, man. That was like a freshman 40. Miss Nita says pushing through the tough days is worth it too to deal with. Yeah. If actually it's more rewarding at the end when you didn't want to do it and you end up finishing, that gives you that that is that creates good habits. When you push through a time when you don't want to, it's all the more rewarding when you finish it. Daryl says, "Oh yeah, today was one of those tough days, but I went and did leg day, and I felt great afterwards. But my legs were destroyed. Same, I did leg day today too. What, but what's worse for me is that for me every day is leg day because I run. So when I run, and then on top of that, I got to do leg day. Whew, it's rough. It is rough." Uh, Zed says the upside to this, I guess, is the weight gain has actually helped me build muscle. My arms and thighs have more muscle than they've ever had. See? What's up, Moonlit Fern? He says they dehydrate to a point is scary and deadly, meaning MMA and bodybuilders. Yeah. And boxing, too. Boxing and Muay Thai, they same thing, and kickboxing. It's scary. So what actually happens is after they weigh in that night, a lot of people will put on like a significant amount of weight. Like they will just gorge themselves in food then after the weigh-in. And to me, it's like, what is even the point? Like, I, 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 I guess it's a tradition to it, but to me, it doesn't seem healthy that you make these people dehydrate and fast to get so they can get to this, so they can make their way in, just for them to like, that's like, then have to gorge on food to so they're healthy enough to fight the next day. That that doesn't make sense. I think fighting at your natural weight makes more sense in the long term, but a lot of places don't do that. At least in Muay Thai, you can fight at your natural weight. Miss Nito says, "Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Push through the pain. The reward is always worth it. Happy for you, Dilford, and your legs will recover." That's what she said. Well, yeah, that's literally what she said, right? Miss Nito says, "Oh yeah, to Moonlit." Yep. What's up, Moonlit? Fern, what's going on with you? Jennifer says, "I understand why they do it, but I can't even imagine not drinking at least half a gallon a day." I I can't say what, like, different people have different ways of cutting weight for their weigh-ins, Dilford. But yes, a lot of them do dehydrate themselves. Combination of dehydration, um, fasting, all that sort of stuff to make weight, and it'll be like drastic. Like they gotta make weigh-in for like 130, and their natural weight is around 160 or something. Like it's crazy. Says so as long as I have my daily nutrients, the deficit shouldn't affect me negatively. No, because like I said, eat more protein, which is going to keep you feeling filled or satiated, right? You need more protein, which is also going to equal you building more muscle with that protein, and you're going to feel fuller, through your meals because the bulk of it is meat. Plus, it doesn't take as much meat to fill you to make your daily protein intake as it does plants. And if you need to, go ahead and take a, a multivitamin. But I would ask your doctor first because most of the time, most people don't even eat a vitamin supplement unless they're suffering from a particular a particular vitamin deficiency. Unless you actually have been diagnosed with some sort of vitamin or mineral deficiency, most people don't need multivitamins. But a lot of people get them anyway just because they think, oh, I don't eat well, so I should like supplement myself. Not necessary. Nolan says, how do we feel about fishing and hunting and guns? Uh, I don't have a problem with it. Jennifer says, yes, yes, it hit your macros and you'll be okay even in a caloric deficit. Yep. Miss Needles says that you might feel more lethargic in the beginning, especially when you cut down the carbs significantly. But as you keep going, your body will adapt to break down the protein you consume and fats. Yep, yep. Says I'm so adamant on this topic because I've been seeing no results, but I've been working my butt off. And I know it takes more time than I originally thought to see what I'm expecting, so I'm okay. Exactly, it's a process. It's not going to be overnight. And like I said, the progress, you've probably already made progress. You just can't see it because you're seeing yourself every day. Miss Neal says if you don't like um, don't eat at all for a long time, the body will eventually eat its own muscle, even the heart muscle. Yeah, so that's true. Your body will catabolize its own protein, its own body protein when it's lacking in body protein. Moonlit Furnace says, Dilfred, it's easier ways that aren't dangerous. Eating one meal a day, add lime juice or lemon juice to your water, going to sleep hungry, swimming and jogging, even just walking. He said, Moonlit says, I was 222 pounds, now I'm 170 and an ectomorph body type. Okay. Which in other words, when he says an ectomorph, that means he had a harder way to go because as an ectomorph, he's naturally, his body's more designed to be like overweight. So Miss Needle says, do you have a deadline to meet? I forgot if he told us he did or not, Miss Needle. I know he said he wanted to join the Air Force within, I think it was like a year or two, but I don't remember if he gave us a specific end date. Jennifer says, congrats to Moonlit. Did you already reach your goal or did you plan on continuing to lose weight? Liam says, Miss Needle, that's it. That's not necessarily true. If you have more than 20 to 30% body fat, the body will inevitably start eating the fat. No, what she's saying, Liam, so the so your carbs are your immediate source of energy, right? And once you've exhausted that, then your body will start eating up the fat, burning off the fat, um, that, right? So the carbs are stored in your body as glucogen, right? That's an immediate source of energy to you. Well, not the immediate source, but like after your simple sugars, like carbs are your complex sugars, right? So simple sugars are your the first immediate source of energy for the body. Then when those are ran through, then your body will go to the glucogen, the stored carbs in your body, and eventually when it runs out of that, as it should if you're doing weight loss, it'll start eating up the fat. but you still need a healthy amount of fat in your body because you need it to cushion your bones and your joints and stuff like that, right? Because once you get past that point, then your body will start breaking down its own protein, and that's not healthy. And don't even get me started with the ATP cycle and all that sort of stuff. But difference is, on Moonlit, did you go to sleep hungry? That's impossible for me. Not for me. I've done it many a time. See, different. Moonlit and I have been in the military, so there's been many nights we've gone to sleep hungry. Trust me. Miss Nita says, "Yeah, Liam, you're right. I was talking about being very skinny. Sorry, I should have clarified." Moonlit says, "I want to be 185 and cut and put on muscle, but I can't swim and jog until after monsoon season is over. Not happy with my body at the moment. I should have stayed 220 and worked out then." I mean, I don't know, with like, with it being rainy season out there, you can't swim or jog, but maybe, I mean, you could do stuff at home, uh, like just, your um, muscular endurance training, like, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, or you can, look up one of those little hit routines, HIIT, one of those hit routines. You could do that. Um, I don't know. And like, I don't know your access to the gym out there, but yeah, you could do something like just like a hit routine or something like that at home that you can still, stay fit. Jefferson says, "Damn, contrarian, if I ran 10 miles a day, I would consider that my leg day and call it a day." No, it wasn't 10 miles. It was 12 kilometers, which is about what, seven, like over 7.5 miles or something like that. I don't remember, but yeah, that I run every day, so that I don't really count that as my leg day. I just count that as my little daily thing. I mean, I do joke. I usually say every day is leg day for me because I run, but when I'm talking about strength training, that's a whole different thing. Liam says, "Yeah, you're right. No need to clarify." To Miss Needle, said, "Ask Miss Needle, no deadline." Well, your sponsor said, "No deadline. I'm contemplating whether I should finish school, then sign up for the Air Force or not." So we've had that chat before. Like I said, you can look into like delayed entry or shift, or either delayed entry or split with a split op entry routine. Miss Nina says, "Is that all right?" See. Liam says that, "I apologize too, but and how long do you have to lose the 60 pounds?" So he just said, guys, so he's still in college right now. So he's contemplating whether he should join now or wait till he finishes school to join. Um, I told him it's pretty much up to him at this point because he can join and still stay in college because he can do either delayed entry or he can do a split op routine where he joins and then during the summer he goes to basic training, then he comes back home to school, and then that following summer he does his advanced training. So Moonlit Furnace says, ask you anything. Do you think HGH is healthy after 40? Women do it here to look younger and make their skin tighter and feel younger. They're in their 50s. I don't know, to be honest, with the human growth hormone, because they just generally call it HGH, but there's different types of human growth hormone as people use the supplement differently. So I can't say in a blanket statement whether it is healthy or not. I would say I would be very cautious of using it in a way that's not recommended. Um, sound like these people are using HGH over there the way women here use Ozempic. But um, I can't say offhand. I would say if they're using it off like in a way that's not been prescribed to them, is probably not a good idea. Tara says may have to use your channel again if that's okay. If you do, you should drop maybe a super chat or something. Oh, I'm sorry. So I got the ectomorph and endomorph incorrectly. Ectomorph means skinny, endomorph means chunkier build. Gotcha. I'm sorry. I do get those confused regularly because again I'm a mesomorph, so I'm not. I'm well, kind of like a mixture of mesomorph and ectomorph. But you're right. I apologize for the mistake. Moonlit Furnace has said, even in the chair force, I promise you, you will want to make sure your cardio is on the up and up. You can do it, and you'll be happy with the benefits you receive from the military. So Zed, excuse me, Moonlit Furnace, he's actually doing pretty good. He says he's getting up at 4 a.m. to run, and then he does his strength training around 6 or 7 p.m. and then goes to sleep from there. So he's doing well. Right now he's obsessing over his diet, and I'm telling him that he needs to stop going online and going down these rabbit holes of erroneous information telling him he should diet this way or no he should diet that way. And I'm saying don't look don't look into these fad diets. Just eat what you want, but just eat smaller amounts of it so he can have a caloric deficit every day. That's the more important thing. And I was like, the easier way to do that is to have bigger portions of meat in his diet, which will give him more of a sense of being filled without having to eat as much. Liam says if the guy's an ectomorph and still needs to lose 60 pounds, that's crazy. No, those are two different people. Moonlit Fern mentioned that. Zed didn't mention that, I don't think. Uh, Unless I got those confused myself. Moonlit says, yes, Liam, I'm thin build, but when I moved abroad, I was depressed and food is cheap here, so I gorged and got real fat real quick. Yeah, like in the Philippines, my wife would feed me a lot of food, but luckily, because I run so much, it kept me from getting fat because Philippine diets aren't a Philippine way of eating that's not healthy. Like they eat rice with every diet. I mean, with every meal, they eat, and she would feed me huge amounts of food because she thought that's what she thought Americans over naturally ate a lot of food, so she thought it was normal to feed me a lot of food. I'm like, I don't eat this much. Like, you know, breakfast she would cook me the whole thing of bacon, and asked her one day. I was like, "Do you guys normally eat this much bacon?" She was like, "No." She's like, "First of all, we don't really eat bacon like this because it's more expensive for them." But she's like, even when they do, they don't eat this much bacon. I was like, "So why'd you fix me this much?" And she was like, "I just thought since you're American, that's how much bacon you ate." I'm like, "No, this is not healthy." I said I ate it because it was there, but yeah, I wouldn't normally eat this much bacon. She started laughing. Um, but yeah, it's easy to overeat, and when you have a wife cooking for you, and you're in like a country with like very traditional culture, and these women will just feed you and feed you. That's why a lot of these guys who are married over there are fat. So Miss Nina says, "Moonlit, are you an undercover recruiter here or what?" He said, "Hell no, they are douchebag desk jobs." Isaiah says, "Liam Jones, I'm still planning on I'm going to do this. The Air Force has a program where they will give a scholarship for the STEM degree that I'm taking, computer science. Moonlit. Miss Needle says, Moonlit, I heard the go to schools, Home Depot. I don't get that. I heard the go to schools, Home Depot and such to meet quota. I didn't get that. Um, says I have 2 more years before I graduate. Like I said, I mean the easiest option is just to wait till you graduate. But like I said, you can. If I'm pretty sure the Air Force allows you to do a split option entry or delayed entry where you do all your stuff you need to do and then you set your time that you're going to actually go in to basic after you graduate, which will also lead you to be able to apply for officer training school, which that's what they call in the Air Force. Mullet, for instance, sorry, contrarian. I hate sit-ups, brother, but I got weights and plenty of exercises videos on YouTube. Um, I don't do that many sit-ups. Like, to be honest, even though I have a six pack, I do. I just do a lot of flutter kicks. Like whenever I stretch, I usually start my stretching out with flutter kicks. That and just doing martial arts kind of gives you a slim waist. But yeah, you don't have to do sit ups like crunches, um, reverse crunches, the uh, the bicycling, uh, leg flutter kicks, leg raises. You can do all of those in place of sit ups. Liam says you need to lose 60 pounds to be a computer scientist, bro. That's crazy. But what is your time frame to do this, guys? Again, he's saying he has 2 years till he graduate, which is when he's saying that he can either join the Air Force now once he loses the weight, or he can wait until he graduates, or afterwards. Like he doesn't have a specific time frame. He's just wondering if it's better for him to do it sooner than later, but he doesn't have a specific time frame. Liam says you have a 2 years at least to lose 60 pounds, bro. Give it a year. You have time on your side. Yeah, I agree with that. Zaya says, yeah, but I'm worried because I don't want to to be the least fit one there, so I'm pushing myself harder than I have before to try to get ahead. The fact that you're even doing this is you're on a good start because a lot of them do come in very unfit. But nowadays, actually, that's not even true because a lot of times these recruiters won't even let the people in who are unfit. Um, so you need to do that. Um, if you're in the Army, I'll also give you some other directives that you should probably do. But I don't know if the Air Force has those same things. So, Moonlit Fern says like, share, and subscribe, and super chat is at the bottom right of your screen. Thank you, Moonlit Fern. But yeah, Zed, another thing I would say is learn your orders as a airman. Because I'm sure they have something akin to the orders of a soldier in the Air Force, which a drill sergeant might ask you. And if you don't know it, you'll get smoked. But if you do know it, they will be impressed. Says I'm running 2 miles in the morning, but I want to increase the length exponentially. Then do it to increase it exponentially. Start it incrementally. Get it? Because when I started running, I just started running like about 21 minutes a day and had no idea whether I was crossing that 2 mile mark or not. But eventually I started doing 2 miles within that time. Then I started slowly expanding it 25, 26 minutes to about 30 minutes, and I realized I was doing about 3 miles. I increased it to about 40 minutes, eventually like to 35, 33, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40 minutes. And notice I was doing about 4 miles. And mind you, this isn't even fast. This is pretty slow. So, um, but you can, you're trying to, you're too concentrated on the results. It's not the you need to be more concentrated on the process and not the results. The results will get there. The results will come. Worry more about the process. You will get there. You'll realize you're doing way more than you originally. Like I look back at it now, like oh my god, like looking at it now. I mean, looking back at myself then, I would have thought there's no way I'd be running that much mileage per day. But you know, it eventually changed. You gotta do it incrementally. Don't worry about the end results. Worry about the process. Worry about every day you run. Worry about having a good run that day. Okay. Worry about having a good run that day. So if you normally run 2 miles a day, and say like what, 18 minutes, add another minute to run. Make it 19 minutes. Make it 20 minutes. Make it 21 minutes so far. Um, so and go for that. Liam says, "Hey, if you're already worried and pushing hard as that, I guarantee 5 out of 10 aren't doing that. So you're already ahead." Yeah, like except for like the ones who are like high speed. There, there's gonna be other high speed people like, yeah, I'm getting ready. But he's right. Probably about half of them aren't. Moonlit Fern says, yes, don't read anything on WebMD either. It's over exaggerated and you'll give you anxiety. Exactly. Moonlit Fern says, you're right. I'm ectomorph, but I gained because all I did was swim nothing else for about 2 years. My fast metabolism got rid of it in months, but left me with stretch marks, and I was just lazy, honestly. Miss Neil said, Moonlit, you dealing with loose skin as well? Um, he said, no, I lost too fast and I'm exercising. My body naturally ate it away, but I lost a lot of muscle too, and that sucks. Miss Nido response, oh man, okay, but don't feel bad about the stretch marks. You're putting in the work. As your body is healthy inside is all that matters. Yeah. I think doesn't everyone have like stretch marks at this point? Like unless you're a kid, like don't we all have like stretch marks? And I'm fit and I have stretch marks. Like we all have stretch marks. Moonlit Friend says, thank you, Nito. I drink every night, but I got a blood test. They said I'm good, but have to stay away from salt, spice, and fried food. I'm like, my doctor was 24 years old. I'm 41. Thailand, tell me how to eat that. Reminds me of an old interview George Burns does. Most of you folks who are under 45 have probably never heard of the comedian George Burns. He did a bunch of movies that I know him the best for called Old God. And the final one was called Oh God, You Devil. That was the first one I watched, but it was like 3 or 4 of these movies where he plays, I think, God, or I think he's this old Jewish stand-up comedian, and he used to always smoke cigars. So during a particular TV interview, the interviewer asked him, he's like, "What did your doctor say about you smoking cigars all the time?" He is like, "Well, my doctor is dead." And they started laughing, and I was like, "Damn, that's messed up." But he outlived his doctor, even though he smoked every day, because he George Burns lived to be, I think, 100 years old. Um, and that's not, and the moral of the story isn't to say to disregard your to disregard your health. That's not the moral of the story. Um, the point is just funny that he's that Molly Fern is significantly older than his doctor, and the doctor's just like, yeah, don't eat bad foods, and he's like, yeah, but you realize where I live, like, what's okay, what's the alternative? I don't know, but I think eating home cooked foods, like a lot of the Thai diet, you can, I think you can avoid like fried foods, and but it'll probably be more supplemented with like a lot of seafood, I guess. I hate seafood, but um, that's why I work out so hard, because at the end of the day that means I can eat what I want. So that's sort of a plus. Liam says, "See, this is why I like this dude. He does it by minutes. I run by distance, which means I can slack off. But as long as I reach the distance, I'm all good. But no, it's about how fast or hard you can run. I mean, I care about distance too. But like I said, if you just approach it incrementally through time, the time and distance are connected, right? Like we don't need to get into the physics of that, but obviously the distance comes with the time, right? We understand like classical Newtonian mechanics. We don't have to get into all that, right? But yeah, that's how I approach it. Like I said, concentrate on the process, not the results. If you're looking long way down the future, like, man, eventually I want to be able to run 10 kilometers, or maybe even 10 miles, or I want to do marathons and stuff. Like, that's fine and dandy, but concentrate on having a good run today. Like, hey, I hey, I'm crushing my 2 miles in 15 minutes. How about today I run for 17 minutes? So, Mullen, for instance, I thought the Army loosened the restrictions on weight and health. I've seen videos of people that have no business at boot camp in their condition. I, I don't know. I think it's going the other way, Mullen, for instance. Like, my friend tried to get into the service. They, and like, what, I'm not sure if it was the Army, though. I think he did look into both Army and Air Force, and one of them told him he was overweight, which he was. He was morbidly obese, and I never really noticed because the way his body is built and the way he wore like oversized clothing, you couldn't really tell that he was that chunky. But when he told me how much he weighed, like he was like 200 something pounds, I'm like, God damn, I didn't realize that. Um, but yeah, he and another friend wanted to join. They both are significantly overweight. But that was different when I came in. When I came in, there was people who were fat in basic training, like fat, like morbidly obese. Now it seems they're pickier about that with weight restrictions than they used to be, because there was people who were morbidly obese when I was in basic training that would not be allowed to get in with the current weight restrictions. Goose Melon says, "What it do? What's up, Goose Melons?" Robo Trippin says, "Can I ask you a personal question?" Depends on what that question is. You can leave it in a super chat. Goose Melon says, "What do you do?" Well, I'm currently on here, but in my day to day, I do marketing assistant. I'm a market assistant for a large lender. So, Mullen, for instance, but like Contrarian said, small increases today, do one push up tomorrow too. By the end of the year, you're doing 300 plus push ups. Exactly. People worry too much about the results without worrying about the process. If they worry more about the process, you'll get the results as a byproduct of concentrating on the process. Liam Jones says, I'm 32. I have stretch marks on my arms and on my lower back. I don't think anyone cares about stretch marks, and my type is thick girls. Say no more. So you like them striated cheeks. Oh boy, here we stop. Well, they can always, reduce that with some cocoa butter. Moonlit Ferns is exactly. I agree. Don't get Moonlit. Don't get Moonlit Fern started with the thick. He says thanks everyone, Contrarian. You attract a great community of people. I don't know how you do it. I, I don't know either, but I remember at work a few weeks ago that my boss was also a friend of mine from college. He was like, he said, you have an amazing mutant power. He said, you can draw people into a conversation that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I was like, for real? I was like, I never noticed that. He's like, yeah. He said, that's why you're so good at making leads. He said, because he said, you can call people and just draw them into a conversation. He said, that's great for what we do. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I said, well, if that's a compliment, I'll take it. And he even tested it. So we had to have a Microsoft team meeting, and he told me that his boss, the who's like the regional manager of the bank that we work for, PRMG, is a huge Star Wars fan, and so he intentionally drew out the guy to talk about Star Wars by asking him about what he thought about the Acolyte. He was like, nah, I ain't watched that. That show sucked. And I was like, completely agree. And then, my friend was like, no, he said, but it talks about such and such. And we both were clarifying. I was like, nah, no. I said, the Acolyte is not a good show. It does not reflect Star Wars in any capacity. And we were just like explaining to him why it broke the canon and all this sort of stuff. And, my boss was like, well, he's like, such and such is the biggest Star Wars fan out there. He's like, but I don't know. He said, Amon, that's me, by the way. He said, Amon, he said, I think he's a bigger fan than you are. He was like, nah, no way, no way. And then I showed him. I was like, actually, I was like, hey, I carry a Luke Skywalker action figure in my pocket. He was like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah. So I just pulled this like right out of my pocket. I said, yep. He said, you got a Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. I said, yep. I said, I just walk around with it. He was like, okay, okay. So he felt challenged. So we're having a team meeting and we're at the office. He's at home. So he goes out and pulls out his Boba Fett that's actually signed by the original actor. And then goes back and pulls out Darth Vader vintage action figure that was signed by David Prowse, who was the original body actor of Darth Vader from the original trilogy. He was like, yeah, see. I was like, you got me on that. But after the team calls, it's like Zoom. They was like, I was like, nah. I said, I gotta give it to him. I said, he has like some better stuff than me. And they was like, nah, that doesn't count. They was like, he's at home, you're at work, and you have an action figure in your pocket. They was like, to me, you are the biggest Star Wars fan. And so my boss, he was looking at the time, and he sent us like a little text to everyone. He was like, look, Amon he said, got him completely off topic for about, I think it was like 7 or 12 minutes, something like that. He's like, see, he said, see, that's your superpower. So I guess that explains how I can draw people into like just conversations on here. But anyway, so Moonlit First is real, recognized, real said. No, I know it was a compliment, Liam. I appreciate it. Thank you. I guess I can't read this, but he says hi from Russia. What's up? Appreciate you checking in from Russia. Liam says that's interesting. Since he had to one up you with that signature, right? That's what everyone in my office is saying. They was like, oh, this became a dick measuring contest real quick. Like, I was like, he had some cool stuff. I said, I got some cool stuff at home too, but I said, I'm in the office. I was like, if I was at home, I could have pulled out, some stuff I have, like Did I have the Star Wars comics #1 from 1977? It was released by the original Star Wars comics were released from Marvel. That went on from 1977 to like 1984, I think. I had Star Wars comic issue #1. It wasn't a first printing though. It was a facsimile reprint. I wish it was a first printing, because if it was a first printing, it'd be worth a lot of money. So I had that, and I had some of my original figures from back in the '80s, like not the ones still in a mint on card condition, but like stuff that I actually played with. Like I had a Boba Fett I actually played with, the X-wing pilot Luke, some stuff like that. So, but he beat me with the signatures though. I'm not gonna lie, but I think I was the bigger nerd for the fact that I actually carried one around in my pocket. Mulder Friend says, "Nerd life, I love it." He said, "We still have young hearts." He said, "Hell yeah, nothing wrong with it. They took us out of Gen X, but they can't take the Gen X kid out of our souls." Exactly. Liam says, "Can I ask on an esoteric level, what does Star Wars make you feel and why?" So it was just cool, Liam. Like, so I was born in '77, so I was literally born in the Star Wars generation, which is from 1977 to 1983, and that's the actual thing, by the way. I didn't make that up. Like, the Star Wars generation is a micro generation. This a hybrid between Gen X and Millennials, which are called Zennials. But because it happens between '77 and '83, the years of the original trilogy, were also called the Star Wars generation. So I literally grew up with this, like watching the original movies, like on HBO, and then when I was old enough, I saw Return of the Jedi in its original theatrical release. So I had like the toys. I watched the cartoons, like droids and Ewoks back in the early '80s. And then to keep it going, like there was a show like Muppet Babies where they always talked about Star Wars and Indiana Jones, which is another thing I watched a lot, was the Indiana Jones movies. So it was just a thing because it was so novel at the time, and George Lucas intentionally made Star Wars to appeal to little boys. He he said that he wanted to instill a sense of spirituality in young boys through Star Wars. So that was the intention. So it was always geared towards people of my age when I start. Well, my age or a little bit older back then. So that's why it was so like it was so so nostalgic for people in my generation because we grew up watching it. Like for some millennials, so for on the other hand, like for some millennials, what would be very nostalgic for them is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. My friend who's significantly younger than me, for him, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is everything. Like that. That's what he grew up on. Which I liked it. Like I was 15 when it first came out, so I liked it too. But he was a baby when it came out, so that's all he knew. Like I knew Star Wars. Um, says I agree, having one with you at all times is another level of dedication. I also had a Batman too. I didn't even tell him about the Batman, but because that's a whole different genre of nerdiness, Batman. So I just told him about the Luke Skywalker in my pocket, not just also the Batman. No Diddy. Liam says no. I've learned it is a real zeitgeist. It is, and it's just fun. It's to a time when things were good. People like people don't understand that. Like nowadays they downplay the fact that Star Wars was about good and evil, but they don't realize it was intentionally so. So it wasn't sci-fi. It was actually sci-fan. Like it was actually science, sci-fantasy. Sci-fantasy and science fiction are like two aren't exactly the same. Um, Sci-fantasy is like a hybrid of fantasy and sci-fi. Being with it with the fantasy elements, meaning it's not trying to be like very scientific, and also being science fantasy always has like a clear cut good versus evil like dynamic going on, whereas sci-fi doesn't, like, in like sci-fi more like Star Trek. It's not like a clear cut good versus evil sort of thing, but science fantasy like Star Wars does. So that's the difference. And people think this is like an oversimplification of complex issues. It's like, yeah, it's supposed to be a science fantasy, and that's what the current people who run Lucasfilm don't understand. This is why they make trash ass content like The Acolyte. Let me get to some of these. Mullen Friends says, hold on, you like Ewoks? Yeah, so, I mean, because, when I was little, the Ewoks appealed to little kids. Like, I remember on How I Met Your Mother, they even pointed out that whether you like Ewoks or not probably corresponded to your age when you saw it. So for older people, they hated the Ewoks. Younger people, they kind of loved the Ewoks. Similar to like in the later Star Wars, like whether people liked like Jar Jar Binks, which was geared towards little kids, whereas the adults hated Jar Jar Binks, or the those little bird-looking things in the sequel trilogy, the porgy, what those things were. They were based on real birds that were everywhere while they were filming, so they just CGI'd them into the movie with with that look, with those heads. But yeah, I like the because so there was the Ewoks movie. So you're probably thinking of the Ewoks movies. There was Ewoks 1 and Ewoks 2 that appeared on regular TV. But then there was the Ewoks, the cartoon. I'm talking about Ewoks, the cartoon. I loved that show back when I was a kid. The Ewoks movies were lame. Like, the Ewoks movies were stupid. I admit that. Like, but I'm talking about the Ewoks cartoon. The Ewoks series was good because they used to come on back to back. It was droids, then it was Ewoks, and I used to watch them back to back for 2 years while they were on. One of the friends says, "Oh, nostalgia." He said, "You keep talking Star Wars, you're gonna get 1,000 viewers a chat." I would love that. Yeah, I would love that. One of the friends says, "I had Voltrons and Thundercats and Ninja Turtles. My parents didn't like Star Wars, but when I went to my cousin's, I got to watch it, and he had awesome toys." My father loved, both my mother and father loved Star Wars, so they were the quickest to get me involved in buying me the toys and letting me watch the movies. Voltron, I didn't have any. I actually didn't have any Voltron toys till like the late '80s. I had the Black Lion. That was it. Because even back then, getting the whole Voltron was more expensive, so I just got the Black Lion. But I should have got the whole Voltron, or at least the mini Voltron, because they had the mini ones in the die cast metal, or you had the larger plastic ones. It was so many variations of it, and Voltron was probably my first anime that I watched. Voltron and Robotech and Transor Z. I and I think Transor Z was actually based on the Japanese show Mazinger Z. Just like Robotech was a blending of Macross and two other animes, and they edited them to all look like it was one series, but they were actually, the Robotech in America was actually based on 3 different series that they hyper edited to make look like one continuous series. And Voltron, of course, there was actually 3 Voltrons, but we didn't get all 3 here. We got the first one and we got the third one. We didn't get the second one because there was a defender of the Voltron was supposed to be a defender of the outer universe, a defender of the inner universe, and a defender of the middle part of the universe. Um, but the Voltron 2 only came out in Japan, or you had to you had to order the videos. Definitely love Thundercats and Ninja Turtles. Jose Mara Santos says Boanate. I'm probably butchering that. I'm sorry. I don't know Spanish much, and beyond Spanish, my Portuguese is even worse. So I apologize for mispronouncing that. But thank you for showing up. So remember Sliders and Quantum Leap? Yep. Quantum Leap was one of my favorite shows back then. Especially, I just loved I loved the intro, how it shows like it was like sad but interesting at the same time. Like he just wants to get home. Liam says you're clearly a self-aware person, but what do you think compels you to adore this franchise into your 40s? By the way, I do not mean this as a condescending way. I love Batman. Just well, like I said, part of it's just nostalgia, of course. Like it would be dishonest to say otherwise. That it's not part of nostalgia, but they've continued the franchise. They George Lucas made a prequel trilogy, and then after the prequel trilogy, he made the Clone Wars, the animated series, which went on to about 2014 or 15 in its initial release, and then they extended it. They had they had a lost season that they never put out, and finished a last season after that, which went on to Netflix. And then even after that, then Disney Plus brought back Clone Wars for a final season after what was supposed to be the final season initially. So it's been going. So it went on to like what 2020, 21, from a start back in like 2008, something like I don't know. So I mean, Star Wars has had stuff that kept it going for fans since 1977. Like after the movies ended, you had all the novels and comic books and video games, which became what's known as the expanded universe, which has kept the fan base going until the prequels dropped in '99 and went on to like to what 2003 or whatever, and then like I said in 2006 or something like that, you had the Clone Wars series that was on Cartoon Network, but it wasn't exactly canon. And then you had the Clone Wars, the movie, come out in 2008, which was an animated series. I mean, an animated movie. Then you had the Clone Wars animated series after the animated movie. I think I heard a dog at my door, guys. My cousin's dog. That's why I'm looking. If you wonder, like, what is he looking at? Like, I heard like some sort of scratching at the door. Definitely not letting the dog in my room. But yeah, like I said, part nostalgia and partly because they've kept releasing new content for 40 plus years. So, Mullen Fern says, I love Ewoks, not a fan of Jar Jar, but I get it. I get defensive when people say Baby Yoda instead of Grogu. Because that's all they knew, and maybe they never watched it up until the point where they actually showed his name. Sergeant says, what's up? Well, what's up, Sergeant? Haven't heard from you in a while. Mullen Fern says, is the aircon working, or is that the fan that's blowing on your mic? Oh, it's muffling the sound a bit. I'm sorry. And I might have had my finger over the mic too. But yeah, that is the fan, because the AC, the technician never came. So you weren't on when I said this, but all the technicians apparently canceled. So the energy company here was called BG&E, Baltimore Gas and Electric. They were bought out by Constellation, who aren't any better. And apparently, because of this heat wave we're having in Maryland, most of the technicians called out for today, and we had to reschedule for tomorrow. So I'm hoping they actually do make it tomorrow morning. So the AC unit is still broken, and that's how I know you've been in Thailand for a long time. You're saying aircon because that's what they say in the Philippines. So I'm not used to saying aircon. I just say AC. Um, but yeah, that's the fan because it's unbearably hot. But I appreciate it because someone else was telling me they couldn't hear me above the fan too. Liam says, I honestly enjoy the way you talk about Star Wars in such detail, slightly cultish, but wonderfully sincere. I can get behind that much love. Well, it's not really cultish. Plus, you gotta know, like, there's an actual religion that got started because of Star Wars. It's called Jedi realism. Some people say it's fake. I'm like, it's no fake than any other religions because all religions have started out as fantasy, but that's a topic for a different day. But yeah, you got a full blown religion started because of Star Wars Jedi realism, and again, it's ironic because the whole point of George Lucas creating the movies in the first place was to instill spirituality into young boys. So, I guess goal accomplished. um, but it's not cultish. It's just a fan base. It's no more to if it's cultish, then so are people who are like heavy into K-pop, or people who are heavily into K-dramas, people who are heavily into anime, people who are heavily into Taylor Swift, people who are heavily into Justin Bieber, heavily into like there's a fan base. Moment Fern says, Liam, do you have anything you still love from your younger years? Just curious, let Contrarian get to know you too in the chat. Says she has 103 in Cali right now. Oy. Yes. Al Gore was right, guys. I should have listened to Al Gore on his internet a long time ago. Al Gore warned y'all when his movie Inconvenient Truth came out back in 1990, 1999. People wrote him off as like a quack. Everything he was saying in Inconvenient Truth is happening. So I don't know. Don't look up if you got the Netflix reference. But guys, I'm about to go. Actually, it is 11:37. I want to get up early because the wife's birthday party will be at 7 p.m., which is 7 a.m. here, and I want to see her how surprised she is. Um, Also, I want to get up early to work out before it gets. I like getting up early so I can run before it gets too hot. And unfortunately, for the last 2-3 weeks, I've been running in this heat wave, which is good on one end because it gives me more. It's made me more rugged, but it's not healthy. So, and again, Star Wars isn't the only fandom I crave to talk to. Talk to me about Batman. I'll go on forever about Batman. Um, um, and other things too. So Gen X, a lot of us have a nostalgia for the stuff we grew up with as kids because for the most part we were raised by our TVs. Our parents were kind of absentee when it came to raising us. Like they just sat, we just sat in front of a TV and let the TV pretty much babysit us. So, either that, or we were outside doing all sorts of things we shouldn't have, but we're still alive. So, Only friend says, "Oh yeah, prepare for that, bro." Yeah, like I said, I'm training myself for the heat because you never know what's going to happen in the future. That's why I also got my bug out bag and everything else like ready to go. Liam says, Moonlit Fern, of course, I still adore football, more specifically, a football player called Zinedine Zidane. I, in fact, have his nomenclature tattooed on my arms. That's why I tried to qualify. Um, uh, he said AIL. Oh, no, the A is a typo. He said, I wasn't trying to be condescending. No, I get it. It was a genuine question. Moon Furnace is cool. I have like 3 Bray Wyatt tattoos from WWE, RIP. I don't have any tattoos yet, guys. Well, um, I was thinking about getting a Sakyant tattoo when I come back to Thailand, but that's about it. If I do get one, it would be like a Sakyant tattoo. For those who don't know what a Sakyant tattoo is, a sacred, it means like a sacred Buddhist tattoo. Like they actually, so you don't just get a tattoo. Like you go to a temple and they actually give you a blessing and do a ritual with you in the process of giving you the tattoo. And the tattoo will be based on like something you told them that you want in your life. Like a lot of like Muay Thai fighters, Nak Muay, uh, will get tattoos, say for like protection or to win fights and stuff like that. And so they'll usually, after you get the tattoo, actually give you instructions on how to lead a better life to make that blessing actually happen for you. So I find it more significant than just going to a regular tattoo parlor. Says to see you in the next one. Happy birthday to your wife, man. Thank you. She'll appreciate it. Moonlit Francis Contrarian said the best we had TV fathers and mothers here. There was actually I don't know if you remember this, but there was actually like an HBO series long time ago called Dream On, where the guy's whole childhood was sitting in front of the TV. So every time like things happen in his real life, he remembered like a reference to like a old classic black and white TV show. It used to be hilarious. That show used to be hilarious, but it was called Dream On. I missed that show. I don't think too many people remember it though. Liam says also I love Batman. I saw the 1989 Tim Burton film when I was 6 years old. I have been obsessed ever since. Yes, sir. So what do you think the other toy in my pocket actually was? The 1989 Michael Keaton Batman. Shoot, I even keep batarangs. I even have batarangs here. These are the Dark Knight Christopher Nolan batarangs, though. Yes, this is actually like sharp metal. Batman Wallet. It's kind of old now. Bought this from like I think Spencer's Gifts when I was in Culver City Mall in LA. And I have other stuff, but not here in this house. So, I've done videos. Like if you want to see all the stuff I have, like I have videos showing my all my collectibles. um, Only for instance, I meant prepare for the B day. Okay. Uh, Leo says, "Get out, dude." Emily Francis, I love this. Yeah, you guys are awesome as hell. The batarangs are too cool. Yeah. So they came out like they were selling them in the comic book conventions like about 10 years ago. So I was like, I gotta get me some. So I bought that. Check out my other videos. I show all my other stuff. Like I have like the bat knife. It's like a two-piece knife. It looks like it's a batarang, but blades come out at each end. I have that. Um, I have the NECA toys. NECA is a great toy toy line for Batman. They've recreated all the 1989 Batman utility belt stuff. Like it's a utility belt. It's the batarang, and it actually folds up like in the movie. It has the compartments on the utility belt like in the actual movie. It has a grappling hook you can attach to it. Check out the NECA toys for 1989 Batman. That stuff is awesome. I've bought the battering, but I still need to buy the grappling hook and the utility belt. But yeah, I got a bunch of other stuff. I got the 1989 Batmobile and the 1989 Batwing. Of course, I have the Joker. The only one I didn't get was Bob, because no one cared about Bob the sidekick. But the funny thing is, people now love Bob the sidekick as part of their collection. But back when people were just buying them to play with them, really no one wanted Bob. Like you would go to the toy aisles, and it would be a bin full of like Bobs, and you couldn't find like Batman or Joker. They would be sold out, but it'd be a bunch of Bobs. um, Liam says, okay, so it turns out I'm not as big a fan as I thought. I just still have the Bruce Wayne Batman flip head and the Ice Mobile from my youth. Oh, I also have the 1989 Batman bank that came with the Batman cereal. So a lot of those cereals that came out in the 80s, that came out for like movies and TV shows, they were basically just Captain Crunch, and they just changed how it looked. So the Mr. T cereal was basically Captain Crunch. The Batman cereal was basically Captain Crunch. I think the C3PO cereal was basically Captain Crunch as well. I can't remember, but it's like a C3PO. Yeah, I think it was like Captain Crunch. No, the bank though I got from my grandmother before she passed away. My other grandmother, she she used to just collect all sorts of banks for fun. So she gave me. I saw those. I was like, Grandma, can I have that? She was like, Yeah, you can have it. So it was like the one that came with the cereal, because not everyone who bought the cereal got the version that came with the free bank with that came with the cereal. So I got that, and then she also gave me another Batman bank from the Silver Age era, from like the 50s, early, I think it was like early 60s. So I got that. So that might be an antique. I looked it up on eBay, but I didn't see a lot for it. But I don't know. You never know. Either way, because she passed away, I probably wouldn't sell either one of them though. Oh yeah, yeah. House of Dragons season finale tomorrow. Yep, definitely watching it. I can't believe it's such a short season. It's only 8 episodes, so we're gonna see how that goes down. Because you, from this short season, I'm guessing there's gonna be like two more seasons, and they're probably gonna be like mini seasons because it's all based on just one book, which is called Fire and Blood. So I'm guessing the seasons coming are all gonna be short. But on that note, guys, I'm gonna go. If you guys have any more questions on anything we talked about, like whether like questions about why I'm into Star Wars or why I'm into Batman, and my favorite Batman is Michael Keaton Batman from the Tim Burton 1980 1989 movie. My favorite. My second favorite is obviously Christian Bale in the Dark Knight trilogy. That's why I have these. Don't take these on a don't take these on an airplane with you. I didn't do that, but I've known people who did. Liam Jones says, "Take care. Happy birthday to your wife." Thank you, Liam. Appreciate you talking with me. Please come back. I welcome everyone to come back. I enjoy everyone. Miss Needle, of course, as well. Um, and I'll and Miss Needle, if you're still there, I'm gonna tell my wife you told her happy birthday. So, all right, guys, I am out of here. Um, Like I said, you can check out the entire replay once I upload it. Um, and like I said, if you had comments or questions from anything you saw in the replay, go ahead and leave those comments, and I'll see them and I'll answer them. Okay. But thanks, guys. Take care.